The galaxy had seen countless warriors across its long history. Jedi Knights who commanded the Force, Sith Lords who bent reality to their will, Mandalorian Crusaders whose legends spanned millennia. But it had never seen anything like what was about to arrive. In the dead of space near the forest moon of Endor, reality itself seemed to shudder. A distortion rippled through the fabric of hyperspace, not following any known trajectory or dimensional pathway. It wasn't a ship emerging from light speed. It wasn't a force phenomenon. It was something else entirely. Raw energy colliding with the fundamental laws of this universe, announcing an arrival that would change everything. The anomaly resolved into a single figure, unconscious and tumbling through the void, surrounded by a faint golden aura that flickered like a dying star. His orange guy was torn, his dark hair wild and unkempt. He shouldn't have survived exposure to hard vacuum. By all known biological laws, he should have been dead within seconds. Yet his chest rose and fell with steady breaths, his body somehow generating a protective field of pure life energy that defied every scientific instrument within range. 3 Rebel Alliance patrol ships detected the anomaly immediately. Their sensors went haywire, unable to classify what they were seeing. Energy readings spiked beyond their measurement capacity. Life signs registered, then didn't. Then registered again in patterns that made no sense. "Control, this is Blue Squadron," the lead pilot transmitted, his voice tight with confusion. "We've got... I don't even know what to call it. It's a humanoid, but the energy output is..." He paused, double-checking his instruments. "Control, I'm reading power levels equivalent to a capital ship reactor core from a single organism." The Rebel base on Endor's moon scrambled a recovery team within minutes. Whatever this was, weapon, alien, experiment, it couldn't fall into Imperial hands. A transport ship with mag tractor systems approached cautiously, treating the unconscious figure like an unexploded thermal detonator. When they brought him aboard, the medical droid's assessment only deepened the mystery. Humanoid physiology, but fundamentally different at the cellular level. Dense muscle structure beyond any known species. Energy pathways throughout the body that don't correspond to any biological function in our databases. And the droid paused, its optical sensors focusing on the subject's face. He appears to be smiling, while unconscious. The transport delivered its cargo to the hidden Rebel base, a collection of prefabricated structures nestled in the massive trees of Endor's moon. By the time they had him secured in the medical bay, though secured felt laughable given the readings, word had already spread through the base. Scientists, soldiers, even the resident smugglers and rogues gathered outside, craning for a glimpse of the impossible visitor. Goku woke gradually, his Scion constitution already adapting to his new environment. His eyes fluttered open, taking in the unfamiliar ceiling, the strange technology surrounding him, the concerned faces of species he'd never encountered. For a moment, confusion crossed his features. Then, as awareness returned, his expression shifted to something the rebels didn't expect: excitement. "Whoa!" He sat up with such speed that the monitoring equipment literally exploded, sparks flying from overloaded sensors. The medical personnel jumped back, hands going to weapons they hadn't even realized they'd drawn. But Goku simply looked around with wide-eyed wonder, completely unconcerned by the blasters pointed in his direction. "Where am I? This isn't King Kai's planet. This isn't even Universe 7. He swung his legs off the medical bed, standing with casual ease despite the gravity restraint field that should have kept him immobile. The field generators whined in protest before burning out completely. A rebel captain stepped forward, hand raised in what he hoped was a calming gesture. Please remain calm. You're in a Rebel Alliance medical facility. We found you drifting in space near our base. Can you tell us your name and how you got here? Goku's face broke into a friendly grin, the kind of open, genuine smile that immediately disarmed half the tension in the room. Oh man, sorry for the trouble. I'm Son Goku. I was trying to use instant transmission to get to Beerus's planet. But something went wrong. There was this weird pulling sensation, and then he looked around again, finally noticing the alien species, the unfamiliar technology, the utterly foreign nature of everything surrounding him. This definitely isn't home. He walked to the viewport, pressing his face against it like an excited child. Outside, the forest moon stretched endlessly, its massive trees creating a canopy that seemed to touch the stars. In the distance, Endor's gas giant hung in space, its bands of color unlike anything in his home universe. Wow, a whole different galaxy. His enthusiasm was infectious, but the rebel personnel exchanged worried glances. This level of naivety, combined with that much power, was potentially catastrophic. Hey, you guys feel pretty strong. Well, compared to normal people. Are there stronger fighters around here? I'd love to test myself against the best warriors in this place. The captain cleared his throat. We're in the middle of a war. The Galactic Empire has conquered most of the known galaxy. We're the rebellion, fighting to restore freedom and democracy. If you want to find strong opponents. He hesitated, unsure how to explain Darth Vader or the Emperor to someone who spoke about power so casually. The Empire has individuals with abilities we call the Force. They can move objects with their minds, sense danger before it happens, even choke people from across the room. Goku's eyes lit up with unmistakable excitement. Really? That sounds amazing. Like psychic powers. He clenched his fists, a habit when anticipating a good fight. I'd love to spar with someone like that. Back home, I fought gods and beings who could destroy universes. It's been too long since I faced someone who could really push me. The medical bay went silent. Destroy universes? The claim seemed absurd, but the energy readings didn't lie. Whatever this Goku was, he believed every word he was saying. And given what they'd measured, maybe he wasn't exaggerating. Before the captain could respond, the door hissed open. A woman strode in with the bearing of natural authority. Princess Leia Organa, one of the rebellion's key leaders. She'd been briefed on the situation and wanted to assess this potential asset or threat personally. I'm Princess Leia, she said, studying Goku with sharp, analytical eyes. We need to understand what you are and what you want. The Empire will have detected the same anomaly that brought you here. They'll be looking for you. We need to know if you're going to be an ally or a complication. Goku scratched his head, that characteristic gesture of confusion that his friends back home knew well. Well, I don't really do politics. But if these Empire guys are bad guys hurting innocent people, I'm happy to help. That's kind of what I do. Protect people and fight strong opponents. Win-win. His simplicity was startling. No grand speeches about justice or freedom. No demands for compensation or power. Just a straightforward willingness to help because it seemed like the right thing to do. Leia found herself simultaneously relieved and concerned. Someone this powerful with this much naivety could be easily manipulated. It's not that simple, she began. But Goku was already looking past her, his attention suddenly snapping to something no one else could sense. Hey, I'm starving. You guys have food here? I could eat about 100 of whatever you've got." His stomach growled audibly, and despite the tension, several rebels couldn't help but smile. There was something disarmingly human about someone so powerful being concerned about his next meal. As they led him to the mess hall, keeping him under careful observation, Goku remained cheerfully oblivious to the emergency comm traffic lighting up across the base. Long-range sensors had picked up Imperial probe droids changing course, heading toward their location. And deeper in Imperial space, in the Obsidian Tower on Coruscant, a disturbance had been felt in the Force. Darth Vader stood before a viewport, staring into the depths of space. He'd sensed it, a presence unlike anything he'd encountered in decades. Not Force-sensitive, yet radiating power that made even the Emperor take notice. Something had entered the galaxy, something dangerous. "What are you?" Vader murmured to himself, his mechanical breathing the only sound in the chamber. On Endor's moon, Goku was already on his 5th serving, chatting enthusiastically with increasingly bewildered rebel soldiers about something called Super Saiyan transformations and training under 100 times gravity. They had no idea what he was talking about, but his genuine friendliness was infectious. Leia watched from across the mess hall, arms crossed. They'd just gained either the greatest asset the rebellion had ever had, or the most dangerous wildcard in the galaxy. Time would tell which. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. The Rebel Command Center buzzed with activity as officers and strategists gathered around a holographic display. Goku stood at the center of attention, looking slightly uncomfortable with all the scrutiny, but maintaining his characteristic, friendly demeanor. Mon Mothma, the calm and dignified leader of the Rebel Alliance, studied him with the careful consideration of someone who'd spent years navigating impossible political situations. "Let me make sure I understand," she said, her voice measured. "You're from another universe entirely. You possess abilities that have nothing to do with the Force, and you're willing to help us fight the Empire simply because they're bad guys." Goku nodded enthusiastically. "Yeah, pretty much. I mean, where I come from, there are always threats to Earth or the universe. I've fought alien tyrants, killer androids, magical demons, even gods. If this empire is oppressing people, I'm happy to stop them." He paused, then added with characteristic honesty, "Plus, if they have strong fighters, I really want to test myself against them." A Bothan intelligence officer stepped forward, his fur bristling with skepticism. "With respect, we've seen your energy readings. But how do we know you can actually fight? The Empire has Star Destroyers, AT-AT walkers, entire legions of stormtroopers. And that's before we discuss Darth Vader or the Emperor himself." Goku's expression shifted slightly, becoming more serious. It was subtle, but everyone in the room felt it. A change in the air pressure, a weight that hadn't been there before. "I don't like showing off, but if you need proof..." He held up one hand, and suddenly a sphere of blue-white energy materialized above his palm, crackling with power that made every sensor in the command center spike into the red. "This is just basic key control. Energy from my own life force. I can make it bigger, smaller, or a lot more destructive." The sphere pulsed, growing to twice its size, and the lights in the command center flickered. Goku immediately powered it down, the energy dissipating harmlessly. "Sorry, still getting used to controlling it in new places. But yeah, I can handle myself in a fight." Admiral Akbar, his amphibious features thoughtful, exchanged glances with Mon Mothma. "The question isn't your capability. It's whether you understand what you're involving yourself in. This isn't a tournament or a duel. The Empire doesn't fight with honor. They'll target civilians, destroy entire planets to make a point. Can you operate in that kind of environment? For the first time since arriving, Goku's cheerful expression darkened completely. His voice, when he spoke, carried a weight that made everyone present understand. And this wasn't some naive child playing at heroics. I've watched friends die. I've seen evil destroy innocent lives. Back home, I fought a tyrant named Frieza, who destroyed my entire race and enslaved planets for fun. I know what real evil looks like. His dark eyes met Akbar's without flinching. The difference between a tournament and real combat? In a tournament, I hold back. In real combat, I don't. The room fell silent. This was a different person than the friendly, food-obsessed warrior who'd been charming the mess hall an hour ago. This was someone who'd faced genuine darkness and survived. Leia stepped forward, breaking the tension. We need to establish some parameters. You say you can sense energy. Kai, you called it. Can you sense people's intentions? Their emotions? Goku relaxed slightly, grateful for the change in subject. Sort of. I can feel if someone's power is malicious or pure. Like, I could tell right away that you guys aren't evil, even though we just met. It's hard to explain, but bad intentions feel different than good ones. Heavy somehow. A tactical officer, a human woman with sharp features, brought up a star chart. We have intelligence suggesting an Imperial convoy will pass through the Atravis sector in 2 days. Standard supplies and troop transport. If you really want to help and prove yourself to the skeptics, you could intercept it. Minimal civilian risk, maximum Imperial disruption. Goku studied the holographic display with the intense focus he usually reserved for analyzing an opponent's fighting style. So, I just stop their ships without killing anyone if possible. These are Imperial soldiers, another officer interjected. They've participated in atrocities. They won't show you mercy. I've fought plenty of enemies who didn't show mercy, Goku replied. But I try not to kill if I don't have to. People can change. I've seen it happen. He thought of Piccolo, of Vegeta, of beings who'd started as enemies and became allies. Though I'll do what I have to do to protect innocence. Mon Mothma nodded slowly. Your moral flexibility may be a liability in this war, Goku. But your power... She made a decision that would ripple across the galaxy. Very well. We'll assign you a liaison officer, someone to help you understand our technology and tactics. In exchange, you assist with operations against Imperial forces. Sounds good to me. Goku's grin returned. When do we start? Before anyone could answer, the command center's alarm blared. Red lights bathed the room as a communications officer shouted above the din. Imperial probe droids, multiple contacts closing on our position. They must have tracked the energy signature from his arrival. Goku's head snapped toward the entrance, his key sense picking up something the rebel sensors hadn't yet detected. There's more than droids out there. I feel darkness, lots of it, and anger. Something really angry is coming this way. On the forest floor 3 kilometers from the rebel base, Imperial probe droids transmitted their final data bursts before rebel commandos destroyed them. But the information was already racing through Imperial networks at light speed, reaching Star Destroyers positioned in nearby systems. And aboard the Super Star Destroyer Executor, Darth Vader received the transmission. Images of the impossible warrior. Energy readings that defied analysis. reports from probe droids' final moments before destruction. A figure who'd appeared on their sensors like a miniature sun. "Prepare my shuttle," Vader commanded, his voice carrying the absolute authority of the Emperor's right hand. "I will investigate this disturbance personally." His officers knew better than to question. Within minutes, a Lambda-class shuttle departed from the Executor, escorted by a full squadron of TIE fighters. Vader sat alone in the passenger compartment, meditating on the strange presence he'd felt through the Force. It wasn't Force-sensitive. He was certain of that. Yet, it radiated power comparable to the Emperor himself. Impossible. The Force was absolute. The dark side had shown him truths beyond mortal comprehension. How could something exist with such power outside the Force's dominion? Back on the Rebel base, Goku stood outside the command center, looking up at the stars. His enhanced Scion senses could detect the approaching ships long before they entered the moon's atmosphere. That darkness he'd felt was getting closer, accompanied by dozens of smaller presences. A young Rebel pilot approached nervously. "Sir, I'm Lieutenant Wex. I'm supposed to be your liaison. Command wants me to explain our weapons and—" "You can just call me Goku," he interrupted with a friendly smile. "And don't worry about weapons. I am the weapon." He pointed skyward. "Your friends should probably get inside. Things are about to get interesting. That angry presence I felt? It's almost here." Wex followed his gaze, seeing nothing but stars. "How can you possibly—" The sky exploded with light as Imperial TIE fighters screamed into atmosphere, their distinctive screeching engines announcing the Empire's arrival. Behind them, Vader's shuttle descended like a harbinger of death, black against the stars. Goku stretched his arms, rolling his shoulders. "Finally, let's see what this universe's fighters can do." His aura flickered to life around him, white energy crackling like lightning. The Rebel base erupted into controlled chaos. Pilots sprinted toward their X-Wings and A-Wings. Ground crews scrambled to defensive positions, manning anti-aircraft turrets. Alarm klaxons wailed through the forest as the distinctive shriek of TIE fighters grew louder, accompanied by the deeper rumble of Vader's Lambda-class shuttle. Goku stood alone in the clearing designated for supply transports, looking completely relaxed despite the approaching Imperial assault. Lieutenant Wex had reluctantly retreated to the command center, though he kept his eyes locked on the warrior through the viewport. Around him, Rebel commanders watched their instruments with growing disbelief. "Energy readings from his position are spiking again," the sensor officer reported, her voice tight. "It's like he's powering up somehow. The readings are—" She stopped, double-checking her console. "They're still climbing. This doesn't make sense." The first wave of TIE fighters broke through the cloud layer, 12 Imperial fighters in perfect formation. Their targeting computers locked onto the lone figure in the clearing, identifying him as the primary threat based on the energy signatures. The squadron leader's voice crackled across Imperial comm channels. "Target acquired. All fighters open fire on my mark." Vader's shuttle hung back, the Dark Lord observing through the Force. He could feel the strange presence below, not through the Force itself, but as an absence, a void where power existed outside the natural order. It intrigued and disturbed him in equal measure. The TIE fighters opened fire simultaneously, green laser bolts screaming toward Goku from multiple angles. The rebels watching from the command center tensed, expecting to see the warrior vaporized or at least diving for cover. Instead, Goku simply stood there. The laser bolt struck him directly, chest, arms, face, and dissipated harmlessly against his aura. Smoke rose from the impacts, But when it cleared, Goku remained completely unharmed, not even a scorch mark on his orange guy. He looked up at the fighters with an expression of mild disappointment. "Is that all?" His voice carried across the clearing, somehow audible even over the scream of engines. "I've been hit harder by Krillin during warm-ups." He crouched slightly, then launched himself into the air with explosive force. The sonic boom from his departure shattered windows in the nearby structures and knocked several rebels off their feet. He accelerated toward the TIE formation with speed that their sensors couldn't track. The squadron leader barely had time to register the warning before Goku materialized in front of his viewport. For a fraction of a second, their eyes met. The Imperial pilot's terror-filled gaze meeting Goku's focused intensity. Then Goku's fist struck the fighter's wing joint with precisely controlled force. The TIE fighter spun wildly, its wings shearing off, but the cockpit remained intact. The pilot ejected automatically, his survival capsule deploying as his disabled fighter spiraled toward the forest below. Goku was already moving to the next target. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration. Goku moved through the TIE formation like a force of nature, his speed and precision making the Empire's finest pilots look like training academy cadets. He struck engines, disabled weapon systems, sheared off solar panels. Each blow calculated to disable without killing. TIE fighters fell from the sky one after another, their pilots ejecting or crash landing with survivable damage. Inside the command center, absolute silence reigned as rebels watched the impossible display. Admiral Akbar's tactical mind tried to process what he was seeing and failed completely. This single individual was dismantling an Imperial fighter squadron with his bare hands, in atmosphere, without a ship or weapons. "Get our pilots to stand down," Mon Mothma ordered quietly. "He doesn't need backup. He needs space to work." The last TIE fighter attempted to flee, its pilot's nerve breaking completely. Goku appeared in front of it, floating in midair as casually as if standing on solid ground. He raised one hand, and a concentrated blast of Kai, carefully modulated, struck the fighter's engines. The TIE went dead, gliding on momentum alone toward a crash landing that would bruise the pilot but leave him alive. Then Goku turned his attention to the Lambda-class shuttle that had been hovering at a distance, observing. Even from hundreds of meters away, he could feel the darkness radiating from that ship. Heavy, cold, suffocating. It reminded him of the malice he'd sensed from beings like Frieza or Majin Buu, but different somehow. More focused, more controlled. Vader felt the warrior's attention lock onto his shuttle, and for the first time in years, he experienced something approaching uncertainty. This being had just disabled an entire fighter squadron in under 2 minutes without showing any sign of strain. The power was undeniable, but power alone meant nothing if the wielder lacked will. The shuttle's landing ramp descended slowly, deliberately. Vader emerged from the darkness within, his black armor and cape stark against the shuttle's interior lights. He walked down the ramp with measured steps, each footfall heavy with menace and authority. His breathing apparatus maintained its mechanical rhythm, the sound that had preceded death for countless rebels and traitors. Goku descended from the sky, landing in the clearing about 20 meters from Vader. His aura had faded, but he remained tense, his combat instincts screaming that this opponent was different from the others. Not stronger in raw power. Goku could tell immediately that he vastly outclassed the armored figure, but dangerous in ways that transcended simple strength. For a long moment, they simply stared at each other. The rebel base had gone completely silent, every eye fixed on the confrontation. Even the forest seemed to hold its breath. Vader spoke first, his deep voice resonating with dark authority. You are the anomaly, the disturbance I sensed. He began walking slowly forward, each step deliberate. You possess power outside the Force. Impossible. Yet here you stand. Goku's expression remained serious, his fighting stance loose, but ready. You're the one everyone's afraid of. I can feel it. You've got this heavy energy around you, like you're carrying a lot of anger and pain. His voice held no judgment, just observation. You must be really strong. I am Lord Vader, servant of the Emperor and commander of the Imperial fleet. The Dark Lord stopped 10 meters away, and the temperature in the clearing seemed to drop. You have destroyed Imperial property and interfered with Imperial operations. Surrender, and your death will be swift. Goku's eyebrows rose. That's pretty dark. You just go around killing everyone who doesn't do what you say. He shook his head. I've met tyrants before. They all think power means they can do whatever they want. It never works out well for them. Vader's hand moved almost casually, and suddenly Goku felt an invisible force grip his throat, or try to. The Force Choke, Vader's signature execution method, attempted to crush the warrior's windpipe. It should have been instant. Absolute. The power of the dark side made manifest. Goku's expression shifted from serious to confused. He reached up, touching his own throat as if checking for something. Huh, that's weird. I felt something try to grab me, but... He looked at Vader with genuine curiosity. Is that your power? The Force thing they mentioned? For the first time since his transformation into Darth Vader, the Dark Lord experienced complete shock. The Force Choke had never failed. Not once. Rebel leaders, Imperial officers, even Jedi who'd survived Order 66, all had fallen to this technique. Yet this stranger simply ignored it? Vader's hand clenched harder, pouring more dark side energy into the attack. The air around Goku shimmered with malevolent power. Trees nearby began to wither. The ground cracked, but Goku himself remained unaffected, protected by his ki aura in ways the Force simply couldn't penetrate. Interesting, Goku said. And despite the dire situation, his battle-hungry Saiyan instincts kicked in. Your energy is trying to attack me, but it can't get through my ki. You're using some kind of external force, but I'm generating power from within. They might be incompatible. He dropped into a fighting stance, and his aura flared bright white around him. Want to try something more direct? Vader's lightsaber ignited with its characteristic snap hiss, the crimson blade humming with deadly promise. He'd killed Jedi Masters with this weapon. He'd cut down entire battalions. The plasma blade could slice through virtually anything in the known galaxy. Your confidence is misplaced, Vader said, and he moved with the enhanced speed of a dark side master, closing the distance in a blur of black cape and red energy. The lightsaber struck Goku's raised forearm at full force and stopped. The blade pressed against Goku's skin, held back by his ki aura, plasma that could cut through Durasteel, that could melt blast doors, sizzled harmlessly against the energy field surrounding the Saiyan warrior. Vader tried to force the blade through, putting his cybernetically enhanced strength behind it, but it was like trying to cut through a mountain. Goku looked down at the lightsaber with fascination. Wow, that's hot. I can feel it trying to burn through my aura. What kind of weapon is that? He reached out with his other hand and actually grabbed the blade, his ki protection allowing him to handle the plasma directly. That's really cool technology. The casual disrespect. The complete absence of fear broke through Vader's iron control. He released a wave of force energy, a telekinetic blast that had demolished walls and sent vehicles flying. It struck Goku like a hurricane. Goku slid backward about 2 meters, his feet digging furrows in the dirt, but he remained standing. Okay, that one I felt. You can push things around with your mind. He wiped some dust off his GI, grinning with the excitement of discovering something new. That's definitely useful in a fight. Vader retreated a step, his tactical mind reassessing completely. This warrior wasn't just powerful. He existed outside every framework Vader understood. The Force was everything. The dark side was absolute power. Yet this stranger shrugged off techniques that could kill Jedi Masters. In the command center, Leia gripped the edge of the console so hard her knuckles went white. He's fighting Darth Vader, hand to hand, and Vader can't hurt him. Vader's tactical processors worked at maximum capacity, analyzing the impossible situation. His lightsaber had failed. Force choke had failed. Telekinetic attacks had minimal effect. This warrior's defenses operated on principles completely alien to the Force. Internal energy projection versus external manipulation. They were incompatible systems, and the strangers seemed inherently superior in direct confrontation. But Darth Vader hadn't survived decades of combat through raw power alone. He was a strategic genius, a master of exploiting weakness. If direct assault failed, indirect methods would suffice. Vader's free hand shot out, and instead of targeting Goku, he seized the Rebel command center with the Force. The entire structure, prefabricated metal and transparent steel weighing several tons, groaned as invisible pressure gripped it. Inside, rebels shouted in alarm as the walls began to buckle. "Your power is impressive," Vader said, his mechanical breathing punctuating each word. "But can you protect them while fighting me?" Goku's playful expression vanished instantly, replaced by cold fury. He'd seen this tactic before. Villains threatening innocents to gain leverage. His teeth clenched as he felt the building's structure beginning to fail. Sensed the panic of the people inside through their Kai signatures. "That's a coward's move," Goku said, his voice hard as steel. "If you want to fight, fight me. Leave them out of it." Vader applied more pressure. Metal shrieked. Support beams twisted. Inside, Leia and Mon Mothma were ordering evacuation, but there wasn't time. The structure was seconds from collapse. Goku moved. One instant, he was 20 meters from Vader. The next, he'd closed the distance, grabbed the Dark Lord's outstretched arm, and forced it down with overwhelming strength. Vader's force grip on the command center broke immediately, the structure settling back onto its foundation with a ground-shaking thud. But now Goku was in close quarters, and Vader's lightsaber came around in a devastating arc aimed at the warrior's unprotected neck. The blade struck, and again failed to penetrate Goku's ki aura. Vader followed with a palm strike enhanced by the Force, targeting pressure points that would incapacitate even Wookiees. Goku blocked the strike casually, then grabbed Vader's wrist. "I get it now. You can't hurt me directly, so you'll threaten others." That's exactly what Frieza did, what Cell did, what every tyrant does when they realize they're outmatched. His grip tightened, and Vader's armor began to creak under the pressure. I hate that. The Dark Lord activated his armor's electric discharge system, high-voltage current designed to stun attackers. Lightning arced from his gauntlets into Goku's body. It should have dropped a full-grown Gamorrean instantly. Goku barely flinched. Yeah, electricity doesn't really work on me anymore. Vegeta tried that years ago. He pulled Vader close, their masks almost touching. Listen, I don't know everything about this galaxy's politics, but I know evil when I sense it. You've killed a lot of people. You've caused a lot of suffering. His dark eyes bore into Vader's mask. But I can also sense something else. Under all that darkness, there's still something different. Like you weren't always like this. For a fraction of a second, something flickered in Vader's consciousness. A memory of wind in his hair, a woman's voice, before the mask, before the pain, No. The past was dead. Anakin Skywalker was dead. There was only Vader and the dark side. He released a force scream, pure dark side energy channeled through hatred and pain, directly into Goku's face at point-blank range. It was an attack that could shatter minds, cause hemorrhaging, rupture organs. Sith Lords had used it to kill entire rooms of people. Goku winced and took a step back, releasing Vader's wrist. Okay, that actually hurt a bit, like someone shouting directly into my brain. He shook his head, clearing the disorientation. You're definitely creative, I'll give you that. Vader fell back, his strategic mind accepting the tactical reality. He couldn't win this engagement. This warrior was too powerful, too durable, too fast. Continued combat would only risk his own destruction. But retreat carried its own costs. The Emperor would sense any failure, any weakness. A compromise presented itself. You claim to fight for justice, Vader said, backing toward his shuttle while keeping his lightsaber active. Yet you know nothing of this galaxy. Nothing of the Rebel Alliance's true nature. They are terrorists who destabilize civilized worlds, who bring chaos in the name of freedom. He was stalling, allowing his shuttle's weapon systems to power up. The Empire brings order, security. The rebellion brings only death. Goku frowned, uncertainty crossing his features. They said you're the ones oppressing people, destroying planets, but... He glanced back at the rebel base, then at Vader. I guess I don't really understand what's happening here. Back home, it's usually pretty clear who the bad guys are. Moral certainty is the luxury of the ignorant, Vader replied. The shuttle's weapons locked onto the command center, invisible targeting lasers painting the structure. Power is neither good nor evil. It simply is. How one uses it determines morality. His finger moved toward the mental trigger that would fire the shuttle's laser cannons. And I will use mine to eliminate disorder. The weapons fired. Goku's Ki sense detected the energy discharge before the bolts even left the cannons. He moved with his characteristic instant transmission technique, one moment beside Vader, the next directly in the path of the incoming fire. The laser bolts struck him full force, and this time they actually staggered him slightly. Capital ship-grade weapons had more punch than fighter armaments, but only slightly. When the smoke cleared, Goku stood unmarked, his aura blazing brighter than before. Okay, now you're really pissing me off. His voice carried an edge it hadn't held before. I tried to be reasonable. I even felt sorry for you because of all that pain you're carrying. But if you keep trying to hurt these people... His power spiked dramatically, the ground cracking beneath his feet. I'll stop you. Permanently. Vader felt the shift in the warrior's energy through the Force. Before, he'd been holding back significantly, fighting almost playfully, testing abilities. Now the restraint was gone. The power radiating from him made Vader's dark side senses scream warnings. This was genuine killing intent. The Dark Lord made his decision. He used the Force to hurl his lightsaber toward the command center while simultaneously leaping toward his shuttle with cybernetically enhanced speed. The lightsaber spun like a buzzsaw toward the structure's main support beam, aiming to bring the entire building down. Goku caught the lightsaber out of the air mid-spin, his hand closing around the hilt. He examined it for a moment with genuine interest. "Thanks, I've been wanting to look at this more closely." He thumbed the activation stud, and the blade hummed to life in his grip. "How do you make the laser sword stay sword-shaped? That's pretty neat engineering." Vader's shuttle lifted off, gaining altitude rapidly. Through the viewport, the Dark Lord stared down at the warrior who held his weapon, who'd defended the rebel base, who'd fought him to a complete standstill. He reached out through the Force, trying to call his lightsaber back to his hand through sheer will. Goku felt the pulling sensation and tightened his grip. "Oh, no, you don't. You tried to use this on me, then tried to destroy that building. You don't get it back." The lightsaber's pull against his hand ceased as Vader realized the futility and cut the connection. The shuttle accelerated toward orbit, TIE fighter reinforcements screaming in from the Star Destroyer positioned above the moon. Vader had no intention of retreating completely. He would regroup, analyze, adapt. But for now, tactical withdrawal was the only logical option. In the command center, which had miraculously survived the encounter intact, the rebels slowly emerged from emergency positions. They'd just witnessed one of their fighters face down Darth Vader, the Emperor's enforcer, the man who'd slaughtered Jedi and crushed rebel cells across the galaxy, and win. Goku walked back toward the base, examining the lightsaber with childlike fascination. He waved it around experimentally, making the distinctive humming sound that every being in the galaxy recognized. "This is so cool. It's like a sword made of pure energy. Can I keep this?" Leia met him at the entrance, her expression a mixture of relief, admiration, and deep concern. "You just fought Darth Vader. You saved this entire base, and you're worried about keeping a souvenir? Well, it's a really neat weapon," Goku said defensively. "And he did try to kill me with it multiple times. Spoils of combat, right?" He deactivated the blade and clipped it to his belt, looking pleased with himself. Admiral Akbar approached, his tactical mind still trying to process what he'd witnessed. "That power, you weren't even using your full strength, were you?" Goku's grin returned, his good humor restored now that the immediate threat had passed. "Not even close. That was just base form. If I'd gone Super Saiyan, the fight would have been over in seconds. But I wanted to test what he could do first." He stretched his arms overhead, working out some tension. "He's tough. Not physically, but his strategy's really good. That thing where he tried to use the building as a hostage? That was smart, even if it was evil." Mon Mothma descended from the command center, her composure restored despite the chaos. "Goku, you've proven yourself beyond any doubt, but you've also made an enemy of Darth Vader personally. He won't forget this, neither will the Emperor." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "We need to discuss your role in this rebellion, because after what just happened, every Imperial force in the galaxy will be hunting you." Goku's expression became more serious. That dark energy Vader had, it felt wrong, twisted, like he's being eaten up by his own anger and hate. He looked at the assembled rebels. "Is everyone who works for this empire like that?" "Not everyone," Leia said. "Many are just soldiers following orders. But at the top, Vader, the Emperor, the Inner Circle, they're practitioners of the dark side of the Force. They use fear and hatred as weapons. They've committed atrocities that..." She stopped, the weight of Alderaan's destruction momentarily silencing her. Goku noticed her pain. his key sense picking up the sudden spike of grief. "Someone you cared about?" he asked gently. "My entire home planet," Leia replied, her voice steady despite the emotion. "The Empire destroyed it. Billions of people gone in an instant, to make a point, to demonstrate their power." She met his eyes. "That's what we're fighting against. Not soldiers or ships. Casual, absolute evil." The clearing fell silent. Goku stood still, processing this information. He'd fought beings capable of destroying planets. Frieza had done it to planet Vegeta, to numerous worlds across the universe. But hearing it described in personal terms, seeing the pain in this woman's eyes, made it real in a way abstract knowledge never could. "I'm in," he said simply. "Whatever you need, I'll help you fight the Empire." His fists clenched, and his aura flickered briefly to life. Nobody should have to lose their home like that. Nobody. High above, aboard the Executor, Darth Vader entered his meditation chamber. The doors sealed behind him with a hiss, and mechanical arms began removing his helmet. Without the mask's protection, he was vulnerable, but also able to think more clearly. He'd just been defeated. Not killed, not humiliated, but definitively bested in combat by a being who existed outside every rule Vader had learned. The Emperor needed to know immediately. Vader activated his long-range holocommunicator, and moments later, Emperor Palpatine's hooded form materialized in the chamber. The ancient Sith Lord's yellow eyes studied his apprentice with interest. "My master," Vader began, his true voice raspy and weak without the mask's enhancement. "I have encountered the source of the disturbance. It is a warrior from another reality. His power exceeds anything I have faced." Palpatine's expression didn't change, but his presence in the Force sharpened with interest. "Continue." "He operates outside the Force entirely. My abilities had minimal effect. He disabled a full fighter squadron alone, withstood lightsaber attacks, and demonstrated strength that could threaten even..." Vader paused, the admission difficult. "Even you, my master." The Emperor was silent for a long moment, his ancient mind calculating possibilities. Then, surprisingly, he smiled. "Fascinating. A power beyond the Force. Such a being could be useful." His voice took on the silky quality that always preceded manipulation. "Or, if he cannot be turned, he must be destroyed. I will consider how best to proceed." The holocom disconnected, leaving Vader alone with his thoughts. He'd reported the truth, but he'd also withheld one detail. That moment when the warrior had spoken of sensing something beneath the darkness, something that wasn't always like this. For the first time in years, Darth Vader wondered about Anakin Skywalker and hated himself for it. 3 days after the encounter with Vader, Goku stood on the observation deck of a rebel transport ship, watching hyperspace stream past in brilliant blue-white ribbons. He'd been fascinated by faster-than-light travel. It reminded him of instant transmission, but worked on completely different principles. The ship's captain had spent an hour trying to explain hyperspace lanes and navi-computers before giving up in the face of Goku's cheerful confusion. "It's just weird that you have to follow specific paths," Goku had said. "Back home, I can teleport anywhere I can sense a KI signature. Why don't you just go straight there?" The captain's explanation about mass shadows, gravity wells, and navigational hazards had gone largely over Goku's head, but he'd nodded politely anyway. What mattered was that they were heading toward the Atravis sector, where Imperial forces were gathering for some kind of major operation. The rebellion needed intelligence, and Goku needed action. Lieutenant Wex sat across from him in the cramped passenger compartment, reviewing tactical data on a datapad. The young officer had warmed to Goku over the past few days, though he still approached the warrior's casual attitude toward danger with trepidation. The Imperial fleet in Atravis includes 3 star destroyers, Wex explained, highlighting the massive triangular ships on his display. Each one is over a mile long, carries thousands of troops, and has enough firepower to reduce a planetary surface to slag. Your job is reconnaissance only. Observe their formations, identify their objectives, and report back. Goku nodded, though his expression suggested he wasn't entirely committed to the reconnaissance-only part. And if they attack me? Then you defend yourself, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary. We can't afford to lose you in a pointless skirmish. Wex paused, then added more quietly. Also, Command is still debating how to actually deploy you. You're not a soldier. You don't follow standard military protocol. You're more like a natural disaster we're trying to aim at the Empire. That made Goku laugh. I've been called worse. Back home, Vegeta says I'm an idiot who stumbles into victories through luck. His smile faded slightly. But I'm not as dumb as people think. I know when I'm being used as a weapon. I'm okay with that as long as we're fighting for the right reasons. The transport dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Atravis system, far enough from Imperial sensors to avoid immediate detection. Through the viewport, Goku could see the 3 star destroyers Wex had mentioned, hanging in space like enormous predators. Smaller ships, cruisers, frigates, and transports moved between them in organized patterns. There, Wex pointed at the central star destroyer, larger than the others. That's the Devastator, Vader's personal command ship when he's not aboard the Executor. If the Dark Lord is here, he'll be on that one. Goku's key sense reached out, spanning the distance between ships. He could feel thousands of life energies aboard those vessels, none particularly strong individually, but their sheer numbers created a presence he couldn't ignore. And there, aboard the Devastator, a familiar darkness. Cold, controlled, Vader. He's there, Goku confirmed. I can feel him. He stood, rolling his shoulders. I'm gonna take a closer look. Wait, you're going out there? In vacuum? Wex looked horrified. You'll die in seconds. Nah, I'll be fine. I've fought in space before. At Wex's disbelieving expression, Goku elaborated. My ki creates a protective aura. As long as I don't stay out too long, I can handle it. Plus, I can hold my breath for a really long time. Before Wex could protest further, Goku walked to the airlock. The lieutenant scrambled to the cockpit, shouting at the pilots to depressurize the chamber. Alarms blared as the outer door opened, venting atmosphere into space. And Goku simply stepped out into the void. The cold hit him immediately. Not the crushing, instant death that would kill a normal being, but an uncomfortable pressure that his ki aura struggled to compensate for. He'd done this before, during his fight with Beerus in space. But that had been in his own universe, where the physics felt familiar. Here, maintaining his protective barrier required more concentration. He propelled himself toward the Imperial fleet, using controlled bursts of Q, essentially flying through vacuum the way he'd fly through atmosphere. The lack of air resistance actually made movement easier once he adjusted his technique. Within minutes, he'd crossed the distance that would take a starfighter several minutes to traverse. The Devastator loomed before him. Its kilometers of gray durasteel marked with gun emplacements and sensor arrays. Goku drifted along its hull, marveling at the engineering. The ship was a city in space, a mobile fortress that could probably destroy planets with concentrated bombardment. The sheer scale reminded him of Frieza's mothership. though the design philosophy was completely different. He found a viewport and peered inside, startling a stormtrooper who happened to be walking past. The trooper's scream was silent in vacuum, but his panic was visible as he stumbled backward and reached for his comlink. Goku waved apologetically and moved on, looking for something more interesting than corridors full of identical white armor. His key sense guided him toward the darkness he'd felt. Vader's presence somewhere deep in the ship. But as he moved along the hull, he noticed something else. Another energy signature, not as dark as Vader's, but still carrying a heavy weight. It felt younger somehow, conflicted, curious despite himself. Aboard the Devastator's bridge, chaos erupted. Multiple sensor stations detected the intruder simultaneously, the same energy signature that had appeared near Endor, now brazenly approaching the fleet flagship. Officers shouted reports, alarm klaxons wailed. The bridge crew scrambled to battle stations. Admiral Piet, recently promoted after his predecessor's failure had earned Vader's lethal displeasure, stared at the sensor readouts with disbelief. One humanoid? Approaching through vacuum? That's impossible. The readings matched the anomaly Lord Vader encountered. A sensor officer reported, his voice tight with fear. Energy output equivalent to... He stopped, recalibrating his instruments. Sir, our equipment can't measure the upper limit. It's exceeding our scales. Piet made his decision instantly. You didn't survive long in Vader's service by hesitating. Sound general quarters. Deploy TIE squadrons and inform Lord Vader immediately. In his meditation chamber, Vader was already aware. The moment Goku had entered sensor range, the Dark Lord had felt that strange absence in the Force, that void where power existed beyond his understanding. The warrior had come to him. Interesting. Foolish, but interesting. Vader emerged from his chamber fully armored, his cape billowing behind him as he strode toward the hangar bay. This time, he would be prepared. This time, he would understand the limits of this stranger's power. And if possible, he would bring the warrior before the Emperor, alive or in pieces. Goku, meanwhile, had found an airlock. He concentrated his ki into a focused point and tapped the door with one finger. The door is steel, designed to withstand asteroid impacts and weapons fire, dented inward like aluminum foil. A second tap punched through completely, triggering emergency seals throughout that section. He slipped inside before the automated systems could respond, finding himself in a deserted corridor. Red emergency lights bathed everything in crimson as blast doors slammed shut, attempting to contain the breach. Goku looked around, slightly guilty about the damage. Oops, probably should have knocked first. Stormtroopers arrived within seconds, blasters raised and trained on the intruder in the orange guy. Their armor's HUD systems were going haywire, unable to properly classify the target. Threat assessment algorithms kept crashing and resetting. Halt, by order of the Empire, the squad leader began. Goku raised his hands peacefully. Hey, sorry about your door. I'm looking for Vader. We need to talk. Open fire. Blaster bolts filled the corridor, the distinctive red energy streaking toward Goku from multiple angles. He stood there and let them hit, the impacts dissipating harmlessly against his aura. When the squad's power packs ran dry and the firing ceased, he was standing in exactly the same spot, completely unharmed. Are you guys done? He asked. Because I really don't want to fight you. You're just soldiers doing your jobs. But I need to see Vader, and I'm going to keep walking that way. He pointed down the corridor in the direction his ki sense indicated. You can either move or keep shooting. Your choice. The stormtroopers exchanged glances. their training warring with the evidence of their own eyes. Their weapons had no effect. Protocol said to engage until threat neutralization or death. But Protocol hadn't accounted for someone who could shrug off a full squad's concentrated fire. Goku made the choice for them. He walked forward, and when one brave trooper tried to physically block his path, Goku simply moved around him with gentle efficiency, never raising his hands in violence. It was strange, watching this impossibly powerful being navigate past them, like a guest trying not to disturb household help. The squad leader activated his comlink. Admiral Piet, the intruder is moving toward the interior. Weapons ineffective. Repeat, all small arms, fire ineffective. Requesting. Vader's voice cut through the transmission, deep and absolute. Let him pass. I will deal with him personally. The stormtroopers fell back immediately, grateful for the reprieve. They maintained their positions, but made no further attempt to impede Goku's progress. He nodded his thanks and continued deeper into the ship, following that dark presence like a beacon. He passed through corridors filled with personnel who pressed themselves against walls, terrified of this stranger who walked through their mighty warship like it was a park. Officers barked orders into comlinks. Blast doors sealed behind him, containing his movement to specific sections. Automated defense turrets emerged from the ceiling, tracked him briefly, then powered down. Someone had given orders not to waste ammunition on a futile effort. Finally, he reached a massive chamber, the Devastator's main hangar bay. TIE fighters lined the walls in neat rows. Maintenance crews had abandoned their posts, fleeing the area. The space could hold dozens of ships and hundreds of personnel, but now it stood empty except for two figures. Darth Vader waited in the center of the hangar, his black armor and cape stark against the gray deck plating. But beside him stood someone new. A young man with dark robes and an arrogant bearing, his hand resting on a lightsaber hilt. The conflicted energy Goku had sensed earlier. You are either supremely confident or profoundly foolish, Vader said, his mechanical breathing echoing in the vast space. To board an Imperial warship alone demonstrates one or the other. Goku walked toward them, stopping about 20 meters away. I wanted to talk, away from civilians and people who might get hurt. His eyes moved to the young man beside Vader. Who's this? The young man stepped forward, his expression hostile. I am Mara Jade, the Emperor's hand. I serve the Emperor directly, and I'm here to determine whether you're an asset or a threat to the Empire. Her hand moved to her lightsaber, though she didn't draw it yet. Lord Vader requested my presence for this encounter. Goku's head tilted slightly. The Emperor's hand? Is that like a special title? He looked between them. And you both use those laser swords. Are all the strong fighters in this galaxy part of your Force thing? The Force is everything, Mara replied coldly. Those who cannot touch it are insignificant, yet you possess power without understanding its source. You're an aberration. Her green eyes studied him with calculating intensity. The Emperor believes you could be taught to serve the Empire, to bring order to the galaxy under proper guidance. So he sent you to recruit me? Goku's expression became more serious. I already told Vader, I'm helping the rebellion. They're fighting against oppression and tyranny. That's pretty clear-cut to me. Vader's hand rose, and suddenly Goku felt invisible pressure not on his body, but on the very air around him. The atmosphere in the hangar began to compress, creating a localized pressure increase that would crush organs and rupture blood vessels in seconds. It was more sophisticated than the Force choke. environmental manipulation rather than direct attack. Goku's aura flared, and the pressure equalized immediately. That's clever. Attacking the environment instead of me directly. He sounded genuinely impressed. But my ki creates its own space. As long as I'm generating this aura, external pressure doesn't matter much. Mara's lightsaber ignited, a purple blade that hummed with deadly promise. She moved with force-enhanced speed, crossing the distance in a blur and striking at Goku's midsection with precision that came from years of training. The blade struck his aura and stopped, just as Vader's had. But Mara didn't stop. She flowed into a complex series of attacks, her lightsaber work demonstrating mastery of multiple combat forms. She targeted pressure points, joints, anywhere the aura might be weaker. Her free hand gestured, and loose equipment throughout the hangar began flying toward Goku. Tools, cargo containers, even a disabled TIE fighter panel. Goku defended casually, catching projectiles and setting them down gently, blocking lightsaber strikes with his forearms. You're really good. Way better technique than most people I fight. But you're trying to hurt me, and I don't want to hurt you back. His voice carried genuine regret. Can we please just talk? The Emperor offers you a choice, Vader said, watching the one-sided combat with analytical focus. Serve the Empire willingly and be granted status beyond any reward you can imagine. Ships, wealth, entire worlds if you desire them. Or refuse and be destroyed. Goku caught Mara's wrist mid-strike, stopping her attack without effort. He looked at Vader with disappointment clear on his face. You know what? This is exactly how tyrants work in my universe too. Join us or die. Submit or be destroyed. It's always the same. He released Mara, who immediately backflipped away. I've fought gods who offered me that choice. I said no to them too. Then you have chosen death, Vader stated flatly. The hangar bay's massive doors began to open, venting atmosphere into space. Vader and Mara were prepared, their armor and training allowing them to survive brief vacuum exposure. This was a killing technique. Eject the target into space, let the void do the work that weapons couldn't. Goku felt the pressure drop and the temperature plummet. For a moment, he struggled to maintain his ki barrier against the outflow. Then he did something that made both Imperial Force users freeze in shock. He began to glow. Golden light erupted from his body as his hair spiked upward and turned brilliant blonde. His eyes shifted to teal and electricity crackled around his form. The power spike was immediate and overwhelming. Sensor equipment throughout the ship exploded from overload. The hangar bay itself groaned, structural support straining under the pressure of the energy being released. I didn't want to show you this, Goku said, and his voice carried a harder edge despite the casual tone. But if we're doing this for real, you should know what you're actually dealing with. This is Super Saiyan. The atmospheric venting stopped, not because the doors closed, but because Goku's aura was generating enough pressure to counteract the vacuum. He was creating his own localized environment through sheer power output, something that should have been physically impossible. Vader felt genuine fear for the first time since his transformation. The dark side screamed warnings, his force senses overwhelmed by the magnitude of power before him. This wasn't just strength beyond his comprehension. This was power that could challenge the Emperor himself. Mara Jade, to her credit, didn't run. She stood her ground, lightsaber raised, even though every instinct told her she was facing something completely beyond her ability to combat. "What are you?" she whispered. I'm someone who protects people and fights evil, Goku replied. The golden aura pulsed around him like a living thing. And I'm really hoping you'll stop attacking so we can talk like reasonable people. Because if we actually fight, if I stop holding back completely, this ship won't survive. Neither will anyone on it. The golden-haired warrior floated in the depressurizing hangar bay, surrounded by an aura that bent the fundamental rules of physics. Vader and Mara stood frozen, their weapons raised, but their instincts screaming at them to flee. The power radiating from Goku in his Super Saiyan form exceeded anything in their experience. Beyond Jedi Masters, beyond ancient Sith Lords, perhaps even beyond the Emperor himself. Vader's tactical mind raced through scenarios, each ending in failure. His Force abilities couldn't touch this being. Physical attacks were useless. Environmental manipulation achieved nothing. And now the warrior had revealed an entirely new level of power, casually defying vacuum exposure through sheer energy output. "We will inform the Emperor of your choice," Vader said finally, his voice steady despite the circumstances. It wasn't surrender, merely tactical withdrawal. This conflict is far from over. Goku powered down, his hair returning to black, his aura fading to its normal white shimmer. The temperature in the hangar normalized, and emergency systems began pumping atmosphere back into the space. I don't want conflict at all. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But if the Empire keeps attacking innocent people, I'll keep stopping you. That's non-negotiable. Mara deactivated her lightsaber, though her hand remained near the hilt. You speak of innocence, but you understand nothing of galactic politics. The rebellion's actions have cost thousands of lives. Their terrorism destabilizes entire sectors. The Empire brings order, security, prosperity to trillions. By destroying planets, Goku countered, by enslaving whole species. Leia told me what you did to her homeworld. Billions dead just to prove a point. His voice hardened. I've fought beings who claimed they brought order through strength. They were all just bullies hiding behind fancy words. You are naive, Vader stated. The galaxy is vast beyond your comprehension. Trillions of beings across millions of worlds, each with their own agendas and conflicts. The Force itself demands balance between chaos and order. The Emperor maintains that balance through necessary strength. Balance? Goku laughed, but there was no humor in it. You call what you're doing balance? I can sense the darkness eating you from the inside. That's not balance. That's corruption. He pointed at Vader. I meant what I said before. Under all that anger and pain, there's still something else. Something you're trying to bury. For a fraction of a second, Vader's breathing pattern changed, a glitch in the otherwise metronomic rhythm. Then it steadied, and his voice carried absolute cold. Anakin Skywalker is dead. I destroyed him, as I will destroy you if you continue to interfere with Imperial operations. Right? Goku said, clearly not believing it, but unwilling to push further. Well, I've said what I came to say. You can't beat me, and I'm going to help the rebellion. So maybe stop attacking them, and we won't have to keep fighting. He turned toward the open hangar bay doors, preparing to launch himself back into space. But Mara called out, stopping him. The Emperor will want to meet you personally. He's different from what you expect. More powerful than Lord Vader, more ancient than the oldest Jedi records. If you truly seek to understand this galaxy's conflicts, you should hear what he has to say. Goku looked back, considering. Is he going to try to kill me too? Probably, Mara admitted with brutal honesty. But he might also offer you knowledge, understanding. The Emperor has studied the Force for longer than most species have kept written records. If your power comes from outside the Force, he would be fascinated to learn how. It was tempting. Goku's eternal curiosity, his desire to understand every form of combat and power, warred with his knowledge that this Emperor was the source of the galaxy's oppression. But learning about the enemy was smart strategy, wasn't it? Even Piccolo had taught him that. Maybe, Goku said finally, but not today. I've got reconnaissance to finish. He waved cheerfully, the gesture bizarrely casual given the circumstances. See you around. He launched himself through the hangar doors and into space, his ki propulsion carrying him away from the Devastator with impossible speed. Vader and Mara watched him go. Two of the Empire's most dangerous operatives rendered helpless by a single warrior from beyond their reality. I will contact the Emperor, Vader said quietly. This changes everything. Goku returned to the Rebel transport without incident, slipping back through the airlock with a satisfied smile. Lieutenant Wex met him immediately, his face pale with stress. What did you do? Every Imperial sensor in the system went haywire 15 minutes ago. They're scrambling full battle stations, calling in reinforcements. Goku, did you attack them? Sort of. I mean, they attacked me first. Again. Goku settled into his seat, helping himself to a ration bar from Wex's supplies. I talked to Vader and one of the Emperor's special agents. They wanted me to join the Empire. I said no. Then I showed them my Super Saiyan form so they'd understand I'm serious about helping you guys. Wex sat down heavily, his mind struggling to process this information. You showed them. You revealed your full capabilities to the Empire? Goku, that's basic tactical suicide. Now they'll plan specifically to counter you. Let them plan. Goku's casual confidence was absolute. I've got transformations beyond Super Saiyan that I didn't show them. And honestly, even if they know what I can do, I don't think they have anything that can stop me. It wasn't arrogance, just factual assessment. But I did learn something interesting. That woman, Mara, she said the Emperor wants to meet me, like personally. The Emperor? Wex's voice cracked. Emperor Palpatine himself? Goku, that's the most dangerous being in the galaxy. He's a Sith Lord so powerful he dismantled the entire Jedi Order. You can't just walk into a meeting with him. Why not? If he's that strong, I should definitely fight him at some point. Might as well talk first. Goku finished the ration bar and reached for another, earning a resigned sigh from Wex. Besides, I'm curious about this Force thing. You said it's like an energy field that connects everything? That sounds kind of like Kai, but also really different. The transport jumped to hyperspace, fleeing the system before Imperial reinforcements could arrive. As the blue-white tunnel of hyperspace enveloped them, Wex tried to explain Force philosophy to someone whose entire worldview was built on personal power and direct action. The Force it's complicated. The Jedi believed in balance, in controlling emotion and achieving peace. The Sith embraced passion and power, using the Force to dominate. Both sides can do incredible things: telekinesis, precognition, mind manipulation, but it requires training, discipline, connection to the living Force. But I can't use it, Goku said. I tried sensing it when Vader was attacking me, but all I felt was his anger and darkness, not the Force itself. He looked at his hands, flexing his fingers. My ki is different. It's my own life energy, cultivated through training. I generate it from within. which might be why you're immune to force attacks, Wex theorized. Your internal energy creates a barrier their external manipulation can't penetrate. He pulled up reference materials on his datapad. There are stories, ancient Jedi texts, about Force null species who couldn't be affected by Force powers. But they were still vulnerable to physical attacks. You're something else entirely. Their conversation was interrupted by an incoming transmission from the rebel base. Mon Mothma's holographic form appeared, her expression grave. Goku, we've received intelligence that the Emperor himself has taken notice of you. Imperial communications are buzzing with reports of your demonstration aboard the Devastator. You've become a priority target. Yeah, Mara Jade mentioned the Emperor wants to meet me, Goku replied. Is that bad? Mon Mothma's pause was telling. The Emperor is the most dangerous individual in the galaxy. He orchestrated the Clone Wars, manipulated both sides, and destroyed the Jedi Order to seize absolute power. His understanding of the dark side is unmatched. If he's personally interested in you, she chose her words carefully. You represent either the greatest hope the rebellion has ever had, or the greatest threat if he somehow turns you to his purposes. He can't turn me, Goku said with absolute certainty. I faced corruption before. Majin Buu tried to control people through magic. Babidi used mind control on Vegeta. I know what it feels like when someone tries to manipulate you from the inside. I won't let it happen. The Emperor's methods are more subtle than brute force mind control. Leia's voice joined the transmission. He's a master of manipulation. He'll find what you want, your desire for strong opponents, your protective nature, your curiosity, and use it against you. Promise you'll be careful. Goku nodded, appreciating the concern. I will, but I'm not going to hide from him either. If he wants to talk, I'll listen. Know your enemy, right? That's what Master Roshi always taught me. The transmission ended, leaving Goku alone with his thoughts as the transport hurtled through hyperspace. He was beginning to understand that this galaxy's conflicts ran deeper than simple good versus evil. There were layers of politics, philosophy, ancient history. The Force itself seemed to be a source of power and corruption, tempting users toward darkness or light. But at its core, the situation seemed clear enough. The Empire oppressed people. The rebellion fought for freedom. He'd chosen his side, and no amount of philosophical debate would change that basic fact. Days passed as Goku continued working with the rebellion, participating in raids against Imperial supply convoys and rescuing prisoners from detention facilities. Each operation revealed more about the Empire's casual cruelty: slavery, torture, genocide. Each mission reinforced his decision to fight against them. But he also noticed something troubling. Some rebel operatives were discussing using him as a weapon, sending him directly to Coruscant to assassinate the Emperor, or having him destroy Star Destroyers full of thousands of crew members. The strategic thinking made sense from a military perspective, but it conflicted with Goku's personal code. He finally addressed it during a planning session at the rebel base. Commanders had spread holographic maps across the briefing table, marking Imperial fleet positions and discussing potential targets. One officer suggested Goku could single-handedly destroy the Imperial shipyards over Kuat, crippling the Empire's production capacity. I'm not doing that, Goku said quietly, and the room fell silent. Destroying factories with workers inside? That's not fighting, that's slaughter. I'm here to protect people, not kill thousands of regular workers who probably don't even want to be working for the Empire. Admiral Akbar stepped forward, his voice respectful but firm. Those shipyards produce the star destroyers that destroy our worlds. Every day they operate, more weapons are built to oppress more systems. Strategically, eliminating that production capacity would save millions of lives in the long term. Maybe, Goku acknowledged, but I can't just kill people who aren't directly threatening anyone. Soldiers in combat? Sure, if I have to. But factory workers? Mechanics? No. There has to be another way. The tension in the room was palpable. Some officers looked frustrated, seeing a perfect weapon refusing to be properly utilized. Others nodded in understanding, respecting the moral line Goku refused to cross. Mon Mothma intervened. Goku has made his position clear. We won't ask him to participate in operations that conflict with his principles. His assistance is valuable enough that we can work within his constraints. She looked around the table. Remember, we're fighting to restore justice and freedom. If we abandon our own morality to win, we become what we're fighting against. The meeting continued with revised plans, focusing on military targets where Goku's power could be used without mass civilian casualties. He would strike at Imperial warships in combat, defend rebel bases from attack, rescue prisoners. But he wouldn't be their executioner, their weapon of mass destruction. Later that evening, as Goku sat alone watching the stars through a viewport, Leia found him. She settled into the seat beside him, following his gaze outward. "You did the right thing in there," she said quietly. "It's easy to lose yourself in this war, to justify increasingly terrible actions because the Empire is worse. You reminded everyone why we're fighting." "I've made mistakes before," Goku admitted. "Let enemies live who went on to hurt people, spared villains who came back stronger. But killing people who aren't actively fighting, that's not strength. That's just cruelty." He looked at her. "You lost your planet, your family. I'd understand if you wanted revenge." "I do want revenge," Leia said honestly. "Every day. But if I let that desire control me, I become like Vader, consumed by hatred, defined by loss. The rebellion isn't about revenge. It's about hope. About believing we can build something better." They sat in comfortable silence, two warriors from different worlds, united by the same fundamental belief in protecting the innocent. Outside, stars streamed past as the base orbited its hidden location, one small refuge in a galaxy dominated by tyranny. On Coruscant, in the Emperor's throne room deep within the Imperial Palace, Palpatine reviewed the reports with interest. His ancient yellow eyes scanned data from the encounter, sensor readings from Goku's transformation, tactical analysis from both Vader and Mara Jade. "Fascinating," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "Power beyond the Force. Impossible yet undeniable." His withered hands traced patterns in the air, and the Force rippled around him like disturbed water. Such a being could reshape the galaxy, or destroy it. He reached out through the Force, extending his consciousness across the vastness of space, searching for any trace of this strange warrior, and found nothing. No presence, no ripple, just absence where enormous power should exist. Palpatine smiled, an expression that would terrify anyone who witnessed it. "You cannot hide from me forever, Anomaly. The Force touches all things, and when we meet, I will learn your secrets." The Rebel Alliance's hidden base on the ice world of Hoth had become Goku's temporary home over the following weeks. He'd adjusted to the freezing temperatures with Scion resilience, though he still complained about the food. Ration packs and protein supplements were a far cry from the feasts Chi-Chi used to prepare. The rebels had learned to stock extra supplies whenever Goku returned from missions. His appetite was as legendary as his combat abilities. But today, the mess hall's usual bustle was subdued. Word had spread through the base about a major operation, one that would test both the rebellion's resolve and Goku's willingness to participate in the brutal calculus of war. Commander Tauren stood before the assembled officers and soldiers, a holographic display showing Imperial fleet movements over Lothal. Intelligence confirms the Empire is using civilian populations as shields around their garrison. Any direct assault will result in massive casualties among the locals. But if we don't strike now, they'll fortify further, making liberation impossible. Goku leaned against the back wall, arms crossed, listening carefully. This was exactly the kind of situation that made his head hurt, where the right choice wasn't clear, where any action caused harm. "What's the plan?" asked a Bothan commander. "We need someone to infiltrate the garrison and disable their planetary shields from within," Tauren explained. "Once the shields are down, our fleet can strike the military installations with precision, minimizing civilian casualties. But the infiltrator will be alone, deep in Imperial territory, surrounded by thousands of stormtroopers and security systems." Every eye in the room turned to Goku. He pushed off from the wall, approaching the hologram. "You want me to sneak in, break their shields, and get out before they can respond?" "Essentially, yes," Tauren confirmed. "Your abilities make you the only person who could survive such a mission. But there's a complication." He zoomed the display to show a massive structure in the garrison center. That building houses not just the shield generator, but also Imperial administrative facilities. Hundreds of bureaucrats, clerks, and support personnel, non-combatants. So, if I destroy the shield generator, I might bring the building down on them. Goku finished the thought, frowning deeply. Is there a way to avoid that? A technical officer stepped forward. A Twi'lek woman with sharp eyes. If you can precisely disable the power conduits feeding the shield without destroying the generator itself, the structural integrity should hold. But it requires surgical precision. One miscalculation and the entire structure collapses. Goku studied the schematics, his battle-honed mind analyzing angles and force requirements. I can do it, but I need to scout the location first. Understand the layout. Going in blind is asking for mistakes. We don't have time, Tauren said grimly. The Empire is moving a full Star Destroyer into orbit tomorrow. Once it arrives, the orbital defenses become impenetrable. It's now or never. The room fell silent, everyone understanding the stakes. Goku looked at the hologram, at the representations of civilians caught between the Empire and Rebellion, and made his decision. I'll do it. But I'm doing it my way. No unnecessary destruction, no civilian casualties if I can avoid them. And if the situation changes, if I see a better option, I'm taking it. Deal? Mon Mothma, present via hologram from another base, nodded her approval. Acceptable. May the Force be with you, Goku. He left the briefing room and headed to the hangar, where a stealth transport waited to take him to Lothal. But before he reached it, see continue, he encountered Wedge Antilles, one of the Rebellion's best pilots, working on his X-Wing. Goku, Wedge called out. Heard you got the Lothal mission. Listen, I know you can handle yourself, but... He pulled a small device from his toolkit. This is a personal shield generator. Military grade, top of the line. Won't stop a lightsaber or heavy weapons, but it'll deflect blaster fire and small arms. Might give you an extra second if things go wrong. Goku took the device, genuinely touched. Thanks, Wedge. Though, honestly, I probably won't need it. My Ki is better than any shield technology. Humor me, Wedge insisted. Besides, it's got a built-in comlink and tracker. If you get in trouble, we'll know where to extract you. They clasped forearms in the warrior's grip that transcended galaxies, and Goku headed for the transport. The flight to Lothal was quiet, the pilot maintaining communication silence to avoid Imperial detection. Goku spent the time meditating, centering his Kai, preparing for the precision work ahead. Lothal appeared below, a planet of golden plains and industrial cities, beautiful despite the Imperial occupation. The transport dropped him at high altitude, and he descended through the atmosphere under his own power, a streak of white energy that sensors might mistake for a meteor. He landed on the outskirts of the garrison compound, taking cover behind industrial equipment to assess the situation. His Ki sense spread out, touching thousands of life energies within the base. Soldiers, yes, but also civilians. Families in residential sectors, workers in support facilities. The Empire had deliberately positioned non-combatants throughout the garrison to complicate any attack. The shield generator building rose in the compound's center, a brutalist structure of gray durasteel and reinforced concrete. Security was heavy. Stormtrooper patrols, scanning towers, automated turrets. But Goku had infiltrated tougher places. The Red Ribbon Army's headquarters came to mind. He waited for a patrol to pass, then moved with speed that made him effectively invisible to normal perception. One moment he was at the perimeter. The next he'd crossed 300 meters and was inside the outer defenses. Alarms didn't sound. He'd moved too fast for sensors to register anything but a brief anomaly. The building's entrance was heavily guarded, so Goku simply flew to the 20th floor and punched through an exterior wall with carefully controlled force. The durasteel crumpled inward, creating a Goku-sized hole, but the structural supports held. He slipped inside an empty office, listening for alarms. Nothing. The building was so massive, so full of activity, that one small breach hadn't triggered security protocols yet. Good. He navigated through corridors, avoiding personnel with ease. His ability to suppress his Ki signature made him practically invisible to normal senses, and his enhanced speed allowed him to slip past security checkpoints before guards even registered movement. It was almost too easy. These Imperial forces were used to threats that followed conventional rules. The shield generator room was 40 floors down, in the building's heavily protected sublevels. Goku found a maintenance shaft and descended quickly, emerging in a corridor lined with warning signs about radiation hazards and electromagnetic fields. 2 stormtroopers guarded the generator room entrance. Goku waited until they were looking the opposite direction, then simply walked past them and through the blast door, moving so quickly that the guards only felt a breeze and turned to find the door still sealed. Unaware he'd phased through the security protocols entirely through speed, the shield generator itself was a marvel of technology. A massive cylindrical structure surrounded by power conduits, coolant systems, and redundant safety mechanisms. Destroying it would be trivial. Disabling it precisely without causing catastrophic failure? That required finesse. Goku studied the setup, his Ki sense probing the energy flows. He could feel the power coursing through the conduits like blood through veins. There, 3 primary feeds that supplied the generator's core. If he disrupted those specific points simultaneously, the generator would shut down safely without triggering emergency overloads. He positioned himself, extending his hands toward the 3 conduits. This required control beyond simple strength. He needed to project Ki precisely enough to sever connections without explosive force, It was like using a scalpel instead of a sledgehammer against his Saiyan instincts, but well within his technical ability. 3 concentrated ki beams, each thinner than a finger, lanced out and struck the conduits simultaneously. Metals sparked. Systems whined as power flows disrupted. The shield generator's hum decreased in pitch, winding down smoothly rather than crashing catastrophically. "Shield failure," someone shouted from an adjacent control room. "Primary power feeds are severed. Switching to backups. Backups aren't responding. We're going dark." Alarms finally blared throughout the building. Goku winced at the noise. Mission complete. But now came the hard part. Escape before the entire garrison descended on his position. He launched himself upward, breaking through floor after floor on his ascent. Stormtroopers poured into stairwells, officers shouted orders, security lockdowns activated. But Goku moved like a ghost, always one step ahead of the response. He burst through the building's roof and into open air just as TIE fighters screamed overhead, belatedly scrambling to intercept. Above, in orbit, he could sense the rebel fleet emerging from hyperspace, taking advantage of the disabled shields to launch their assault. But then his KI sense detected something that made him stop mid-flight. A familiar presence, dark and cold. Vader. The Dark Lord was here, on Lothal, and he was moving toward the garrison with purpose. Goku changed trajectory, angling toward that presence. He found Vader on a landing platform outside the garrison command center, his black cape billowing in the wind. The Dark Lord's head turned, tracking Goku's approach with force-enhanced senses. "You," Vader said as Goku landed 20 meters away. "I wondered if you would appear." "Mission's complete," Goku replied. "The shields are down. Your garrison is about to get hit hard. You should probably evacuate civilians." "The civilians are Imperial citizens," Vader countered. "They accept the risks of living under our protection. As for the garrison..." He gestured skyward, where the rebel fleet was engaging Imperial defenses. "Your friends will find victory more costly than they anticipate." A new presence entered the battlefield, a massive triangular shape dropping from orbit. The Star Destroyer Vader had mentioned, arriving ahead of schedule. Its turbo-laser batteries opened fire, and rebel ships began taking damage. "No!" Goku watched as one of the rebel cruiser's shields failed under concentrated fire. He could sense the life energies aboard, hundreds of people about to die. Without thinking, he launched himself into space. He reached the cruiser just as another turbo-laser volley struck its hull. This time, the energy dissipated against Goku's aura as he positioned himself between ship and destroyer. The turbo-laser fire was powerful. Capital ship weapons designed to crack planetary defenses. But against someone who'd survived universe-busting attacks from Beerus, they were manageable. "What the..." The cruiser's captain stared at his view screen, seeing a single humanoid figure tanking hits meant for his ship. "Is that Goku?" The Saiyan warrior grinned despite the strain, his aura blazing brighter. Then he cupped his hands at his side, energy building between his palms in a familiar stance. "Ka, me, ha, me." Blue-white energy spiraled between his hands, compressed to devastating density. The Star Destroyer's crew detected the energy spike too late, their sensors screaming warnings about power levels that exceeded their measurement capacity. "Ha!" The Kamehameha wave erupted from Goku's hands, a coherent beam of concentrated ki that crossed the distance between him and the Star Destroyer in an instant. It struck the massive ship's forward shields, overwhelming them immediately, then burned through the hull armor like it was paper. The beam punched completely through the kilometer-long vessel, entering the bow and exiting the stern, leaving a perfectly cylindrical hole 50 meters in diameter. Critical systems exploded. Power fluctuated wildly. The great ship began to list, its structural integrity compromised beyond recovery. All hands, abandon ship. The Imperial captain's voice barely made it out before the destroyer's reactor containment failed. The explosion lit Lothal's sky like a second sun, debris raining down but burning up in atmosphere before reaching the surface. Goku floated in space, staring at his hands with horrified realization. He'd destroyed a ship, killed thousands. He'd tried to disable it, to punch through in a way that would cripple without destroying. But the ship's design meant that penetrating certain sections caused catastrophic failure. He'd miscalculated, and people had died because of it. The Rebel fleet's communications officer hailed him directly. "Goku, that was incredible. The Imperial forces are retreating. We won." But Goku didn't feel victorious. He felt sick. Those Imperial crew members were like the stormtroopers he disabled before, just following orders, just doing their jobs. And he'd killed them because he hadn't understood the technology well enough to disable without destroying. He returned to the planet's surface, landing heavily outside the garrison. Vader still waited there, and the Dark Lord's mechanical breathing seemed almost contemplative. "You regret what you have done," Vader observed. "You destroyed an Imperial warship and its crew, and now you question whether they deserve death." "They didn't," Goku said quietly. "I didn't mean to blow up the whole ship. I just wanted to stop it from firing on the Rebel cruiser." "Welcome to war," Vader replied. And there was something in his voice. Not quite sympathy, but understanding. Where good intentions lead to mountains of corpses. Where every choice produces casualties. This is what the rebellion offers. The blood of thousands on your hands, justified by the promise of freedom. Goku looked up, meeting Vader's masked gaze. "Is that supposed to make me join you? Because you've killed way more people than I have. I can sense it, all that darkness inside you. You've done terrible things." "I have," Vader admitted without hesitation. "In service to order, to prevent greater chaos. The Empire's peace, purchased with controlled violence, saves more lives than it costs. Your rebellion's promise of freedom will drown worlds in civil war and anarchy." "That's a lie tyrants tell themselves," Goku countered, his voice hardening. "I've met beings like you before. Frieza said he brought order to the universe. The androids said they were eliminating humanity's chaos. Cell claimed he was evolution's apex. They were all just monsters hiding behind philosophy." Vader's lightsaber ignited. "Then you have chosen your side, and accept its consequences. The Emperor extends one final offer. Join us, and we will give you opponents worthy of your power. Refuse, and we will find ways to hurt you that do not require defeating you in combat." What's that supposed to mean? You care about these rebels, about protecting innocents. Those are weaknesses that can be exploited. Vader began walking backward toward a waiting shuttle. The Empire is vast. We cannot be everywhere. And where we cannot protect, suffering flourishes. How many worlds will burn while you fight us? How many innocents will die because you chose the losing side? The shuttle lifted off, and Vader's presence faded from Goku's senses. The Saiyan warrior stood alone on the platform, Lothal's sunset painting the sky in orange and gold, while around him, the garrison surrendered to rebel forces. He'd won. The mission was successful. Lothal would be liberated. But he couldn't shake the image of that Star Destroyer exploding, thousands of lives snuffed out in an instant by his attack. Was this what fighting in this galaxy meant? Victories measured in body counts? Princess Leia found him hours later, still standing on that platform long after the battle had ended. She approached cautiously, recognizing the expression of someone confronting the cost of war. "The fleet commanders are calling you a hero," she said quietly. "That Star Destroyer would have destroyed half our ships if you hadn't intervened." "I killed thousands of people," Goku replied flatly. "I didn't mean to, but they're still dead." "Yes," Leia acknowledged, "because lying would insult them both." "They are. And if you hadn't acted, thousands of rebels would be dead instead. That's the choice war forces on us, not between good and evil, but between terrible options where someone always dies." Goku finally looked at her, and she saw genuine anguish in his eyes. "In my universe, most of my enemies survive. I beat them, they get stronger, sometimes they even become allies. But here, winning means killing. I don't know if I can keep doing that." "Then don't," Leia said simply. "Find another way. You're powerful enough that you don't have to play by war's rules. Disable ships instead of destroying them. Incapacitate enemies instead of killing them. It'll be harder. You'll take more risks. But if you can pull it off," she managed a small smile, "you'll prove that even in the darkness of this galactic civil war, there's still room for mercy." Goku nodded slowly, his resolve forming. "Yeah, you're right. Just because everyone else is killing each other doesn't mean I have to. I'll find ways to win without that." He gestured vaguely toward orbit, where debris from the destroyer still glowed like dying stars. As they walked back toward the rebel transport, Goku made himself a promise. He would fight. He would protect the innocent. He would help the rebellion, but he would do it his way, with the restraint and mercy that made him different from warriors like Vegeta, different from the darkness Vader represented. Because if he lost that essential part of himself, if he became just another weapon in a galaxy full of weapons, then what was the point of fighting at all? The Imperial Palace on Coruscant rose like a dark monument to absolute power, its obsidian spires piercing the perpetual haze of the Ecumenopolis. In the throne room's highest chamber, where shadows gathered despite the city planet's endless lights, Emperor Palpatine sat upon his throne, ancient fingers steepled before his withered face. Darth Vader knelt before his master, head bowed in supplication. Between them, a holographic display flickered, showing sensor data from the Lothal engagement, energy readings from Goku's Kamehameha, tactical analysis from a dozen encounters. "Fascinating," Palpatine murmured, his voice like dry leaves scraping stone. "This warrior destroys a Star Destroyer with a single attack, yet feels remorse for the deaths. Power without the will to use it ruthlessly. A contradiction that presents opportunities. He has refused all attempts at recruitment, my master," Vader reported. "His commitment to the rebellion appears absolute. And his power." The Dark Lord paused, the admission difficult. "Even combined, we may not be able to defeat him through direct combat." Palpatine's lips curled into something approximating a smile. "Direct combat. How pedestrian, my apprentice. The greatest victories are achieved without striking a single blow. This Goku possesses godlike power, but mortal psychology. Exploitable, malleable." His yellow eyes gleamed with malevolent intelligence. "He cares about innocence, values honor, seeks worthy opponents. These are not strengths. They are chains we shall use to bind him. The Emperor rose from his throne, his movements suggesting hidden vitality despite his decrepit appearance. He approached the hologram, studying Goku's image captured mid-transformation, golden hair and teal eyes radiating otherworldly power. "I shall extend a personal invitation," Palpatine declared. "Not as Emperor, but as fellow seeker of power's mysteries. He wishes to understand the Force? I shall teach him. He desires strong opponents? I shall provide them. And in doing so, I shall show him the futility of his rebellion, the inevitability of order's triumph over chaos." "And if he refuses to meet with you?" Vader asked. "He will not refuse. Curiosity is as much a part of him as his power. He will come, believing he can resist corruption, confident in his righteousness." Palpatine's laughter was soft, terrible. They always do, and they always fall. The transmission went out through official Imperial channels, broadcast on frequencies the rebellion monitored constantly. A simple message: Emperor Palpatine requests the honor of Son Goku's presence on Coruscant for diplomatic discussion. No hostilities, no tricks. Simply two beings of extraordinary power, exchanging knowledge and perspective. Safe passage guaranteed by Imperial decree. At the rebel base on Hoth, the message caused immediate uproar. Commanders shouted over each other, some calling it an obvious trap, others seeing potential intelligence value, most simply terrified at the thought of their most powerful asset, walking into the Empire's capital. Goku listened to the arguments with his characteristic patience, then raised one hand for silence. "I'm going." "Absolutely not." Admiral Akbar's voice carried the weight of decades of military experience. "This is a transparent attempt to either capture or kill you. The Emperor is the most dangerous individual in the galaxy. You cannot trust anything he says." "I don't trust him," Goku replied calmly. "But I am curious. This whole time, I've been fighting the Empire without really understanding what drives them. Maybe talking to their leader will help me figure out how to stop him without..." He paused, remembering the exploding Star Destroyer. "Without so much death." Mon Mothma stepped forward, her diplomatic instincts engaged. "If you're determined to do this, we should establish protocols. A method for extraction if things go wrong. Perhaps a fleet positioned nearby?" "No," Goku interrupted gently. "If I show up with a military escort, it proves I don't believe in the safe passage. And honestly, I don't need backup. If the Emperor tries something, I can just leave. Nobody in this galaxy can stop me from going where I want." It was said without arrogance, simply stating fact. And that was what made it terrifying. This warrior from another universe possessed such overwhelming power that he could casually dismiss the combined might of the Galactic Empire. Leia grabbed his arm as he headed for the hangar. "Goku, please listen. The Emperor isn't like Vader. He doesn't rely on physical power or force abilities alone. He's a master manipulator. He'll twist your words, find your weaknesses, make you doubt everything you believe. That's how he destroyed the Jedi Order. Not through combat, but through deception." Goku met her eyes, and she saw genuine understanding there. "I know, but I've faced manipulators before. Babidi tried to control Vegeta by exploiting his pride. Zamasu tried to justify genocide with philosophy. I learned that the best way to resist corruption is to know yourself completely. Your values, your limits, your purpose." He smiled reassuringly. "I know who I am. A conversation with the Emperor won't change that." He boarded a small rebel transport, piloted by Lieutenant Wex, who'd volunteered for the suicidally dangerous mission of delivering Goku to Coruscant. The flight through Imperial space was tense. Every sensor contact potentially an ambush. But the Emperor's word held. No Imperial ships intercepted them, and they received clearance to land directly at the Imperial Palace. Coruscant sprawled below them, a planet-wide city of impossible scale. Trillions of beings in countless towers, connected by traffic lanes that flowed like luminous rivers through artificial canyons. The sheer scope of civilization here dwarfed anything in Goku's experience. Even Earth's cities were villages by comparison. This whole planet is one city? Goku pressed his face against the viewport like an excited child. That's incredible. How do they feed everyone? Where do they grow crops? Import from agricultural worlds, Wex explained, though his attention remained locked on their approach vector. Coruscant hasn't been self-sufficient for millennia. It's sustained by the Empire's supply networks. If those networks collapsed, he didn't finish the thought, but the implication was clear. Billions would starve. They landed on a platform reserved for diplomatic vessels, surrounded by Imperial guards in crimson armor. These weren't stormtroopers. They were the Emperor's personal protectors, selected from the most elite warriors in the galaxy and trained in both combat and force resistance techniques. Goku stepped off the ramp and immediately felt it. A suffocating pressure in the air. A weight that had nothing to do with gravity. The dark side of the Force permeated this place like radiation. Years of Sith sorcery and casual cruelty seeping into the very architecture. An Imperial advisor approached, his movements precise and deferential. "Welcome to Coruscant, Son Goku. The Emperor awaits you in the throne room. Please, follow me." They walked through corridors of polished black stone and crimson lighting, past tapestries depicting Imperial victories and sculptures celebrating authoritarian might. Stormtroopers lined the hallways at precise intervals, but none moved to intercept. The Emperor's guarantee of safe passage was being honored. For now. The throne room doors opened with hydraulic precision, revealing a cavernous space dominated by shadows despite numerous light sources. And there, at the chamber's far end, sat Emperor Palpatine upon his throne, a figure of such concentrated malevolence that even Goku's ki sense recoiled from the contact. "Ah, the warrior from beyond." Palpatine's voice echoed through the chamber, simultaneously welcoming and threatening. "I have waited with great anticipation for this meeting. Approach, Son Goku. Let us speak as equals, for there are few in this galaxy who can claim such distinction." Goku walked forward, his footsteps echoing on polished stone. He stopped at a respectful distance, studying the Emperor with the careful attention he'd give any potential opponent. The man looked ancient, withered, almost fragile. But the darkness radiating from him was immense. Deeper and more refined than Vader's. Cold where Vader burned hot. "You wanted to talk?" Goku said simply. "So let's talk. Why are you doing all this? The Empire? The oppression? Destroying planets? What's the point?" Palpatine's lips curled in amusement. Direct, refreshing. The Jedi would have couched such questions in diplomatic language, dancing around their true concerns. He leaned forward slightly. "I shall afford you the same directness. I seek order. The galaxy contains trillions of beings, millions of species, countless conflicting agendas. Left to their own devices, they devolve into chaos, war, famine, plague. The Republic proved this through millennia of bureaucratic failure." "So you seized control," Goku said. "Destroyed anyone who opposed you, made people afraid to resist. I provided structure where there was entropy, certainty where there was confusion. Yes, blood was shed. but far less than the endless wars the Republic failed to prevent. Palpatine's yellow eyes studied Goku with unnerving intensity. You understand this principle. In your universe, you have fought tyrants, yes? Beings of immense power who sought to impose their will on others? Yeah, Goku admitted. Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu, they all wanted to control or destroy everything. And when you defeated them, what filled the power vacuum? Who maintained order in their absence? The Emperor's voice carried false curiosity. Surely you did not simply destroy these threats and walk away, leaving civilizations to rebuild from ashes without guidance. Goku frowned, sensing the trap but unsure how to articulate his objection. That's different. Those guys were evil. They killed for fun, destroyed planets because they were bored. You're trying to compare yourself to them, but... But what? Palpatine interrupted smoothly. I enforce order through strength. They destroyed through whim. The methods appear similar from certain angles, do they not? The difference lies not in action, but intention. I serve purpose. They served only themselves. You serve yourself, Goku countered. All of this, the Empire, the control, it's about your power, not helping people. Is it? The Emperor rose from his throne with surprising grace, approaching until he stood mere meters from Goku. Tell me, warrior from beyond, when you fight, do you do so purely for others? Or is there not some part of you that revels in the challenge, that seeks the thrill of combat against worthy opponents? His smile widened. I sense the truth in you. You are Saiyan, yes? A warrior race that grows stronger through battle. You do not fight solely from altruism. You fight because it is your nature. The accuracy of the observation made Goku uncomfortable. He did love fighting, did seek out strong opponents. Even now, part of him wondered how powerful this Emperor truly was, whether the ancient Sith could provide the challenge Vader couldn't. I like fighting, Goku admitted honestly. But that doesn't make me like you. I fight to protect people and test myself. You hurt people to maintain control. Those aren't the same thing. Are they not? Palpatine circled slowly, his movements predatory despite his aged appearance. You say you protect people. Yet, how many died when you destroyed that Star Destroyer over Lothal? Thousands, I believe. All performing their duties, serving the structure I created to maintain galactic peace. You killed them to protect rebels, terrorists from my perspective, who seek to return the galaxy to Republic-era chaos. The guilt from that incident was still fresh, and Palpatine's words struck precisely where Goku was most vulnerable. That was an accident. I didn't mean to. Yet, they are no less dead. Intention matters little to corpses. The Emperor's voice became almost gentle, a father explaining harsh truths to a naive child. You see, son Goku, this is the reality of power. When wielded, it causes harm regardless of intention. The question is not whether we hurt others, but whether that harm serves a greater purpose. My empire provides stability for trillions. Your rebellion threatens that stability in the name of abstract freedoms most beings neither want nor understand. Goku shook his head, fighting against the insidious logic. You're twisting things, making it sound like oppression is good because it's organized. But people should be free to choose their own paths, make their own mistakes. Should they? Palpatine gestured toward the viewport, where Coruscant's endless towers glittered. Those trillions living on this world alone. Do you believe they ponder philosophy? Question governance? No. They desire safety, sustenance, purpose. I provide all three. The rebellion offers only uncertainty and the false promise that freedom will solve problems it cannot even comprehend. The Emperor moved closer, and Goku felt the dark side pressing against his ki aura like oil against water. But we digress. I did not invite you here for political debate. I invited you because you interest me. Power beyond the Force, techniques from another reality, transformations that multiply your strength exponentially. I would learn your secrets, and in exchange, I offer knowledge of the Force itself. I can't use the Force, Goku replied. We already established that. Cannot, or have not learned how. Palpatine's smile was serpentine. The Force flows through all living things. Perhaps your ki and the Force are not incompatible, but complementary. Imagine combining your internal energy cultivation with external Force manipulation. The power would be transcendent. For a moment, Goku genuinely considered it. Learning new techniques was core to his identity. He'd learned the Kamehameha from Master Roshi, instant transmission from aliens on Yardrat, fusion from the Metamorans. If he could add Force abilities to his repertoire, then he remembered the darkness suffusing this place, the casual cruelty in Palpatine's smile, the weight of suffering this man had caused. No, Goku said firmly. Your power comes from anger and hatred. I've seen what that does to people. It consumes them from inside. Vegeta struggled with it for years. Even if I could use the Force, I wouldn't learn it from you. Palpatine's expression didn't change, but the temperature in the throne room dropped perceptibly. Disappointing. I had hoped you possessed the wisdom to transcend simple morality. Very well. Let me demonstrate why rejecting my offer is unwise. The Emperor raised one withered hand, and Force lightning erupted from his fingertips, not the crude displays Vader had used, but concentrated streams of dark side energy that could disintegrate flesh and shatter minds. The lightning struck Goku's aura and stopped. Just as with Vader's attacks, the Force-based assault couldn't penetrate Goku's ki barrier. The lightning crackled and sparked against invisible resistance, dissipating harmlessly. Palpatine's eyes widened fractionally, genuine surprise crossing his ancient features. Remarkable. Lord Vader's reports were accurate. You exist outside the Force's dominion entirely. He lowered his hand, the lightning fading, which means direct Force attacks are useless. How refreshing. I have not faced such limitation in decades. I tried to tell you, Goku said, dropping into a defensive stance. Your power and mine don't mix. Now, are we fighting, or can I leave? Neither. Not yet. Palpatine returned to his throne, settling into it with the confidence of someone holding cards his opponent couldn't see. I cannot harm you directly, this is true. But I need not harm you to achieve my goals. Tell me, do you know where your rebel friends are currently located? Goku's expression hardened. You think I'd tell you that? You need not. I already know. The base on Hoth is hardly the secret your alliance believes. Palpatine's smile was cruel. Even as we speak, I could dispatch fleets to that location. Thousands of your new friends, frozen and trapped, facing overwhelming Imperial might. How long before you could reach them? Minutes? Hours? How many would die in that time? The threat was clear and effective. Goku's fists clenched, his aura beginning to flicker with agitation. You said safe passage. No tricks. And I have honored that. You are safe. Free to leave whenever you wish. What happens to others? Palpatine spread his hands innocently. I make no guarantees beyond your personal security. It was masterful manipulation. Goku could destroy this throne room, could potentially kill the Emperor himself. But doing so would accomplish nothing. Palpatine wasn't the threat. The Empire was. Its fleets, its armies, its vast infrastructure of oppression. Killing one man wouldn't stop the machine he'd built. What do you want? Goku asked through gritted teeth. Want? Nothing you are willing to give. But I offer you clarity. Palpatine leaned forward, his voice taking on lecturing quality. You are powerful beyond measure. Yet that power is meaningless against the Empire's scope. We span the galaxy. We control millions of worlds. You can destroy ships, defend bases, kill thousands. But you cannot be everywhere. For every base you defend, 10 fall unprotected. For every ship you destroy, 100 more are built. You are one being against an infinite machine. The truth of it settled over Goku like a weight. He'd been so focused on individual battles that he hadn't truly grasped the strategic impossibility. He couldn't save everyone, couldn't protect every world. The Empire was too vast, too distributed. The rebellion's only hope, Palpatine continued, is that I die and the Empire fragments into warlord states. They pray for my death because they cannot achieve victory through conventional means. So I ask you directly, will you attempt to kill me now? Strike me down, knowing it may doom the galaxy to warlord conflicts that could last centuries. Goku stood frozen, his combat instincts screaming at him to act, while his strategic mind recognized the trap. This was what Leia had warned him about, manipulation that made every choice seem wrong. I'm not killing you today, Goku said finally. But I'm not giving up on the rebellion either. There has to be another way. Something between killing you and letting you oppress the galaxy forever. How naive. How wonderfully, tragically naive. Palpatine's laughter was soft, almost pitying. There is no third option, child. There is only power wielded or power submitted to. The Jedi believed they could find balance and died for that delusion. The Republic sought compromise and collapsed into corruption. The galaxy respects only strength. Then I'll get stronger, Goku replied. And despite everything, his warrior spirit flared. Strong enough to protect everyone, fast enough to be everywhere, powerful enough that the Empire can't hurt anyone without going through me first. The Emperor studied him for a long moment, and something approaching respect flickered in those yellow eyes. Perhaps you will. Perhaps you will grow powerful enough to be the galaxy's guardian, its protector against all threats. And when that day comes, his smile turned predatory. You will have become exactly what I am. A single point of absolute power upon which trillions depend. And you will understand why I rule as I do. The meeting was over. Goku could feel it. Palpatine had made whatever point he'd intended, planted whatever seeds of doubt he could manage. Further conversation would only deepen the manipulation. I'm leaving now, Goku announced. And if you attack the Hoth base while I'm gone, I will come back, and I won't be holding back. No attack will occur today, Palpatine assured him. Today was merely educational, for both of us. He waved one hand in dismissal. Go, return to your rebels, fight your feudal war, and perhaps, in time, you will realize the truth I have shown you. Goku turned and walked from the throne room, his mind churning with conflicting thoughts. The Emperor hadn't swayed him, hadn't turned him or broken his resolve. But he had succeeded in showing Goku the true scale of the challenge ahead. The Empire wasn't just strong, it was inevitable, systemic, too large to fight in conventional terms. Back at the transport, Wex waited with barely concealed anxiety. What happened? Are you okay? Did he try to? I'm fine, Goku interrupted. Let's just go. I need to think. The flight back to Hoth was silent. Goku staring out at the streaking stars of hyperspace, while processing everything Palpatine had said. The Emperor was wrong. Goku knew that instinctively. But he'd also exposed a genuine problem. Individual power, no matter how vast, had limits against an enemy that stretched across the galaxy. When they arrived at Hoth, Goku went straight to Mon Mothma's office, where the rebel leadership had assembled anxiously, awaiting his return. The Emperor wanted me to understand how big the Empire is. Goku reported without preamble. How I can't be everywhere at once. How fighting them conventionally is impossible. He looked around at the assembled commanders. He's right about that part, but he's wrong about what it means. Explain, Mon Mothma prompted. He thinks being everywhere at once is impossible, but I've pushed past impossible before. Super Saiyan was supposed to be a legend. I made it real. Ultra Instinct was a technique only gods could use. I learned it anyway. His expression hardened with determination. If I need to be faster, stronger, present in more places, then I'll figure out how. That's what Saiyans do. We adapt. We overcome. Admiral Akbar spoke carefully. Goku, even your power has limits. You cannot literally be in multiple places simultaneously. Maybe not yet, Goku acknowledged. But I'll find a way. Train harder, learn new techniques, push past my current limits. He looked at each of them in turn. The Emperor thinks individual power is meaningless against his empire. I'm going to prove him wrong. It was absurd, arrogant, strategically nonsensical. One warrior claiming he could counter an empire that spanned the galaxy. But looking at Goku's determined expression, remembering the power they'd witnessed, none of the rebel commanders could quite bring themselves to say it was impossible. The months following Goku's meeting with the Emperor transformed the galactic civil war in ways no strategist could have predicted. The Saiyan warrior threw himself into a brutal training regimen, pushing his limits even by his own extreme standards. He'd disappear for days, returning exhausted but noticeably stronger, his Kyoi control refined to unprecedented precision. But today, everything came to a head. Imperial intelligence had located the main rebel fleet gathered near Sullust, preparing for a major offensive against the second Death Star under construction above the forest moon of Endor. It was the largest concentration of rebel forces in the war's history, and the Emperor had laid a trap. The Imperial fleet that emerged from hyperspace was staggering in scale. Dozens of star destroyers, hundreds of support vessels, and the Executor itself. Vader's massive flagship that dwarfed even standard Imperial capital ships. And hovering above Endor like a malevolent moon, the Death Star. Its super laser fully operational despite being incomplete. Aboard the rebel flagship, alarms screamed. Admiral Akbar's voice cut through the chaos. It's a trap. The entire Imperial fleet is here. All ships prepare for... A golden streak crossed the void between fleets. Goku, transformed into Super Saiyan, moved through the vacuum with speed that made Starship sensors read his trajectory as a sensor glitch. He'd been training for this, to move faster, to cover more space, to be the shield the rebellion needed. His first target was a Star Destroyer's bridge tower. Instead of destroying the entire ship, he struck with surgical precision, a concentrated Kai blast that sheared through the command structure without penetrating to the crew quarters below. The massive vessel went dark, dead in space but intact, its crew alive in the sealed sections. Then he was moving again, a blur of gold energy that appeared at 6 different Star Destroyers in rapid succession. Each time, the same technique. Disable command and control, leave the crew alive, remove the ship from combat without the mass death that still haunted him from Lothal. What is that? An Imperial sensor officer stared at his console in disbelief. Also one target moving at speeds that shouldn't be possible. It just disabled 3 Star Destroyers in under a minute. Aboard the Executor, Vader stood on the bridge, feeling through the Force as Goku systematically dismantled the Imperial battle formation. The warrior had learned from their previous encounters, adapted his tactics, found ways to win without the wholesale slaughter that troubled his conscience. "Lord Vader," the fleet admiral said nervously, "at this rate, he'll disable half our fleet before we can respond. We need orders." Vader made his decision. Release the TIE Defender Squadron. Deploy all bombers against the rebel capital ships. Force him to choose, pursue our fighters or defend his allies. It was the correct tactical response, exploiting Goku's fundamental weakness. He was still only one person. As fast as he'd become, he couldn't be everywhere simultaneously. The TIE bombers launched, hundreds of them, streaking toward the rebel fleet with proton torpedoes and concussion missiles locked on targets. Goku sensed the shift immediately, felt the malicious intent focused on the ships carrying his friends. He changed trajectory mid-flight, appearing directly in the path of the bomber wave. His hands moved in rapid succession, firing ki blasts with machine gun precision. Each shot calibrated to disable a bomber's engines without killing the pilot. TIE fighters spiraled away, disabled but intact. But there were so many, coming from every angle. A proton torpedo slipped past his defense, streaking toward a rebel cruiser. Goku's instant transmission activated. He appeared beside the torpedo, caught it physically, and redirected it into empty space where it detonated harmlessly. Then he was back in the bomber formation, continuing his defense. But every second he spent protecting one section left another vulnerable. Star Destroyers he'd disabled were being towed back by their support vessels, their crews already working on emergency repairs. More Imperial ships kept arriving, drawn by the battle's energy signatures. "I can't keep this up forever," Goku admitted through the comlink Wex had given him. "There's too many of them, spread too far apart." "Then fall back." Leia's voice carried desperation. "We'll retreat, regroup." "No." Goku's determination burned through the transmission. "The Emperor said I couldn't protect everyone. I'm not proving him right." His aura exploded outward, the golden energy intensifying. He'd been holding back, conserving power for a long engagement. But maybe raw strength wasn't the answer. Maybe he needed something different, a technique he'd been developing specifically for this kind of scenario. Goku brought his hands together, focusing his ki with absolute concentration. Back in his universe, he'd learned the multiform technique from Tien, the ability to split into multiple bodies, though it divided power between them. He'd never mastered it, because the power reduction made it strategically questionable. But what if he didn't split his power? What if he created ki constructs? Temporary duplicates maintained by continuous energy output, rather than divided essence. "Kage Bunshin," he shouted, using the technique named from a jutsu he'd heard about from beings in other universes. His ki erupted, and suddenly there weren't one but 20 Gokus scattered across the battlefield, each glowing with golden energy. They weren't true clones, more like solid Kai projections, extensions of his will given temporary form. But they could fight, could defend, could cover multiple positions simultaneously. The power drain was immense, but he could maintain it for at least a few minutes. The 20 Gokus moved as one, each taking a section of the battlefield. One group focused on disabling Imperial capital ships. Another intercepted bomber waves. A third protected rebel vessels under direct fire. It wasn't perfect. The constructs lacked his full power and would dissipate if hit too hard. But it multiplied his effective presence dramatically. Imperial forces faltered, unable to adapt to this new development. How did you fight an enemy who could suddenly be in 20 places at once? Impossible. The fleet admiral turned to Vader. Lord Vader, our forces are being systematically neutralized. We're losing ships faster than we can. Vader silenced him with a gesture. Through the Force, he could sense the strain this technique placed on Goku. The warrior was burning through energy reserves at an unsustainable rate, maintaining multiple manifestations through sheer willpower. It was an impressive display, and a doomed one. Maintain current assault pattern, Vader ordered. He will exhaust himself shortly, and when he does, on the Death Star's command deck, Emperor Palpatine watched the battle with clinical interest. His ancient eyes tracked the golden figures darting through the void, noting their movements, analyzing their limitations. Magnificent, he murmured. Such determination, such power, and such foolishness. Expending himself to save those who cannot be saved. He turned to his attending officers. Prepare the super laser. Target the rebel flagship. My lord, one officer protested. Our own ships are in the firing line. The energy discharge could... I am aware of the collateral concerns. Fire when ready. The Death Star's focusing dish began to glow. Massive energy reserves channeling into the weapon that had destroyed Alderaan, that could crack planets like eggs. But this time, the target was a single capital ship. Overkill on an absurd scale, but guaranteed to achieve results. Goku felt the energy build up through his ki sense. His main body turned toward the Death Star, horror crossing his features as he recognized the scale of power being prepared. That thing could destroy a planet. Against a single ship. The rebel flagship wouldn't just be destroyed, it would be vaporized, along with everyone aboard, including Leia, Mon Mothma, Akbar, all the friends he'd made in this galaxy. The Ki constructs dissolved as he pulled all his power back into his primary form. He needed every ounce of energy he had for what came next. The rebels were shouting warnings, screaming at their flagship to move. But capital ships weren't agile. They couldn't evade in the seconds remaining before the super laser fired. Goku positioned himself directly between the Death Star and the rebel flagship. His aura blazed brighter than ever, golden energy mixing with blue-white ki as he prepared the most desperate defense of his life. He couldn't let that beam through. Couldn't let his friends die because he'd failed to protect them. Kaioken times 20. The crimson aura of Kaioken layered over his Super Saiyan transformation, a combination so dangerous he'd never attempted it before. The strain on his body was immediate and catastrophic, muscles tearing, blood vessels rupturing. But the power output increased 20-fold. The Death Star fired. A lance of green energy erupted from the focusing dish, a coherent beam containing enough power to shatter continental plates, to boil oceans, to crack a planet's core. It crossed the distance in an instant and struck Goku's ki barrier with force that defied comprehension. Reality screamed. Space itself seemed to warp around the point of impact. Goku's barrier held, barely, but the pressure was unimaginable. He could feel his bones cracking, his Kai reserves draining at catastrophic rates. His body threatening to tear itself apart from the Kaioken strain combined with the super laser's assault. Hold. Just hold, he gasped, blood streaming from his nose, ears, eyes. The beam wasn't continuous. The Death Star had fired a concentrated burst, not a sustained beam like the one that destroyed Alderaan. He just needed to endure for a few more seconds. The beam cut off. Goku's barrier shattered, and he floated in space, barely conscious, his transformation flickering as his energy reserves approached complete exhaustion. Behind him, the Rebel flagship's crew stared in absolute shock at the warrior who just tanked a shot meant to destroy their entire ship. Did he just block the Death Star's super laser? Akbar's voice carried disbelief. That's not possible. Nothing can withstand that kind of power. But Goku had, at enormous personal cost, pushing himself beyond every limit. He'd protected them. Vader watched from the executor, and for the first time in decades, felt something approaching admiration. This warrior from another universe had just accomplished something no Jedi, no Sith, perhaps not even the Emperor himself could replicate. Sheer determination had achieved the impossible. "My lord," the fleet admiral said quietly, "what are your orders?" Vader considered. Goku was vulnerable, exhausted, his defenses minimal. This was the perfect opportunity to strike. Imperial forces could overwhelm him now, capture or kill him while he floated helpless. But something in that display stayed Vader's hand. Perhaps a memory of Anakin Skywalker, who'd once believed in impossible heroism. Perhaps simple recognition that some things transcended tactical advantage. "We withdraw," Vader said finally. "The warrior has earned respite, and we have learned valuable intelligence about his limits." He turned from the viewport. "Inform the Emperor the engagement is concluded." The Imperial fleet began its retreat, leaving the battlefield to the stunned rebels. Goku remained floating in the void, barely conscious, as a rebel medical frigate moved to retrieve him. Princess Leia watched the screens, tears streaming down her face. Not from grief, but overwhelming emotion. This stranger from another reality had sacrificed himself, risked everything to save them. Had proven that individual heroism still mattered, even against impossible odds. "Get him aboard," she ordered. "Whatever it takes, we save him." He saved all of us. Goku was pulled into the medical frigate's hold, where droids immediately began emergency treatment. His vital signs were catastrophic: internal injuries throughout his body, Kai reserves at less than 1%, his Saiyan healing factor struggling to keep him alive. By any reasonable medical standard, he should have been dead. But Saiyans didn't die easily, and as the medical droids worked, Goku's body began the slow process of recovery, his cells already adapting to the strain he just survived. Zenkai boost, the Saiyan ability to grow stronger from near-death experiences, was activating, preparing his body for even greater challenges ahead. When Goku finally regained consciousness 3 days later, he found himself in the medical bay, surrounded by what felt like half the Rebel Alliance. Leia sat beside his bed, her hand gripping his. Mon Mothma stood nearby, see Continue Admiral Akbar behind her. Lieutenant Wex looked like he'd been crying. "You stopped the Death Star," Leia said simply. "You saved thousands of lives, nearly killed yourself doing it." Goku managed a weak smile. "Worth it. Everyone's okay." "Everyone's okay because of you." Leia squeezed his hand tighter. "But Goku, we can't ask you to do that again. What you did was beyond anything we'd ever request. You've already given the rebellion more than we had any right to expect." "I'm not done yet," Goku replied, his voice gaining strength. "The Emperor was right about one thing. I can't protect everyone. Not the way I've been trying." He sat up slowly, ignoring the medical droid's protests. "But I can get stronger. Fast enough, powerful enough that the Empire can't threaten anyone without facing me. That's what I'm going to do." Mon Mothma stepped forward, her expression a mixture of concern and hope. "Goku, even your power has limits. You nearly died out there." "Yeah, but I didn't die. And now I'm stronger than I was before. That's how Saiyans work. We grow from adversity." His dark eyes held absolute determination. "The next time the Empire tries something like this, I'll be ready. Strong enough to stop them without almost killing myself." It was insane. One warrior declaring he'd become powerful enough to counter a galactic empire through personal training and determination. But looking at Goku, at the burn still healing on his skin, at the unwavering resolve in his expression, none of them could quite dismiss it as impossible. Because he'd already done the impossible. Had blocked the Death Star's super laser, had fought Darth Vader to a standstill, had survived a meeting with the Emperor himself. Maybe, just maybe, this warrior from another universe really could become the shield the rebellion needed. On Coruscant, Emperor Palpatine reviewed the battle footage with disturbing satisfaction. Goku had reached his limits, revealed his absolute maximum output. The warrior could be overwhelmed, could be pushed to the breaking point. This was valuable intelligence. But more importantly, the seed Palpatine had planted during their meeting was growing. Goku was isolating himself, taking on impossible burdens, pushing himself to be everywhere and protect everyone. That path led to only one destination: burnout, failure, and the crushing realization that even godlike power couldn't save everyone. And when that moment came, when Goku faced the inevitable failure his heroism guaranteed, the Emperor would be there, offering purpose, direction, a way to truly make a difference through the order only the Empire could provide. "Soon," Palpatine murmured to himself. "Soon, you will understand. And when you do, you will be mine." 6 months had passed since the Battle of Endor's moon, and the galaxy watched with growing unease as patterns emerged that defied conventional warfare. Imperial offensives were met not by rebel fleets, but by a single golden-haired warrior who appeared from nowhere, disabled star destroyers with precision strikes, and vanished before reinforcements could respond. Garrison worlds woke to find their planetary shields offline and occupation forces mysteriously incapacitated. Unconscious stormtroopers arranged in neat rows with a calling card written in energy burns. Choose freedom. Goku had become something unprecedented in galactic history. A one-person insurgency operating at speeds and power levels that made conventional military response impossible. But the cost was becoming apparent to those who knew him. At the current rebel base, hidden in the Outer Rim, Leia found Goku sitting alone in the training chamber he'd insisted they build. A reinforced room that could withstand his power output. He was meditating, his aura flickering weakly around him, exhaustion evident despite his Saiyan stamina. "You've been going non-stop for 3 weeks," Leia said softly, not wanting to startle him. "The medical droids say you're running on empty. When was the last time you ate a real meal? Slept for more than an hour?" Goku opened his eyes, and she saw the weariness there. "Can't stop. Every moment I'm resting, the Empire is hurting someone somewhere. I can feel it. Millions of life energies across the galaxy, and so many of them are suffering." His voice carried a weight that hadn't been there months ago. "I'm faster now, stronger. I can cover more territory than before, but it's still not enough. It will never be enough, Leia said gently, sitting beside him. The galaxy is too vast. You could be 1,000 times faster, 1,000,000 times stronger, and there would still be suffering you couldn't prevent. That's not failure. That's reality. The Emperor said something similar. Goku's laugh was bitter. Told me I'd eventually understand why absolute power was necessary. Why one force maintaining order was better than the chaos of freedom. I'm starting to see what he meant, and I hate it. Leia took his hand, forcing him to look at her. Listen to me. What you've accomplished is extraordinary. Imperial recruitment is down 40% because worlds see you as proof they can resist. Defection rates are at historical highs because Imperial soldiers are questioning whether they're on the right side. You haven't just won battles. You've given people hope. Hope doesn't stop Star Destroyers, Goku replied. Hope doesn't prevent the Empire from enslaving more worlds while I'm sleeping. No, but revolution does. Organization does. The rebellion you've inspired isn't just military now, it's ideological. Systems are declaring independence not because they think they can win, but because you proved the Empire isn't invincible. Leia's grip tightened. You don't have to carry everything alone. Let us help. Let the rebellion be what it was always meant to be. Millions of people making small choices that add up to freedom. Before Goku could respond, alarms blared throughout the base. Mon Mothma's voice came through the intercom. All hands to Command Center. Imperial transmission incoming. Priority Alpha. They rushed to the Command Center, where a holographic projection materialized. But it wasn't the Emperor or Vader. It was a woman in an Imperial Admiral's uniform, her expression grim. Rebel Alliance, this is Admiral Sloane of the Imperial Navy. I am transmitting this message against direct orders because what I'm about to report. She paused, choosing words carefully. The Emperor has authorized Operation Cinder. In response to continued rebel victories and the warrior known as Goku, the Empire will begin systematic destruction of worlds deemed compromised by insurgent influence. Starting in 1 standard hour, climate disruption satellites will be deployed to Naboo, rendering it uninhabitable. The transmission cut off, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Naboo, the Emperor's own homeworld. He was willing to destroy it simply to prove a point. It's a trap, Admiral Akbar said immediately. He's baiting Goku, forcing him to respond so Imperial forces can overwhelm him. Of course it's a trap, Goku replied, already moving toward the hangar. But I can't let millions die just because it's convenient for the Empire's strategy. Mon Mothma stepped into his path. If you go alone, you're playing directly into his hands. He wants you isolated, exhausted, vulnerable. Let us plan an actual military response. There's no time. Goku's frustration boiled over. You heard the transmission, 1 hour before they start killing an entire planet. While we're planning and strategizing, people are dying. And what happens when you burn yourself out? Leia demanded. When you push so hard that you can't fight anymore? The Emperor wins. The rebellion loses its symbol, and the Empire crushes everything we've built. She grabbed his shoulders, forcing him to meet her eyes. You told me once that you're not as dumb as people think. Prove it. Think strategically, not just emotionally. Goku stood frozen, torn between his instinct to act and the logic of her words. Every second he delayed meant the Empire got closer to their deadline. But rushing in blindly had nearly killed him before. What do you suggest? he asked finally. The planning session that followed was intense, leveraging Goku's unique capabilities within a coordinated military framework. The rebellion would launch a diversionary assault on Imperial positions in the core worlds, drawing forces away from Naboo. Goku would infiltrate the planet's orbit, locate and destroy the climate satellites before they could activate, then extract before the inevitable Imperial response arrived. One addition, Leia said. Take Wedge's fighter squadron as backup. Not to fight beside you, you don't need that. But to provide sensor coverage and early warning if the Imperial fleet moves faster than expected. Goku nodded reluctantly. Okay, but if things go wrong, they retreat immediately. No heroic sacrifices. The operation launched with military precision. Rebel forces hit Imperial installations across 3 sectors simultaneously, forcing the Empire to split its response. Goku and Wedge's squadron emerged from hyperspace on Naboo's night side, sensors immediately detecting the Imperial satellites arranged in orbital formation. There, Wedge transmitted. 12 satellites in geosynchronous orbit. You've got maybe 45 minutes before they activate. Goku launched himself into space, targeting the first satellite with a focused ki blast. It exploded cleanly, debris scattering harmlessly into Naboo's atmosphere where it would burn up. He moved to the next, then the next, systematically destroying the Empire's doomsday weapons, with efficiency born from months of combat experience. But as he destroyed the 8th satellite, his ki sense detected something that made his blood run cold. A massive presence, dark, ancient, overwhelming, had just entered the system. The Emperor himself, aboard a consular-class cruiser escorted by the entire Imperial First Fleet. It's him, Goku transmitted to Wedge. The Emperor's here, with about 50 Star Destroyers and the Executor. Fall back. Wedge's voice carried desperation. You've destroyed most of the satellites. That's good enough. We need to... If I leave now, they'll redeploy new satellites and start this all over again. Goku moved to the 9th target, then the 10th. I'm finishing this. The Imperial fleet closed rapidly, TIE fighters deploying in massive waves. But they weren't targeting Goku. They were herding him, using formation tactics to limit his movement options, forcing him toward a specific region of space. Where Darth Vader waited, standing on the hull of a Star Destroyer in full armor, somehow surviving vacuum through force technique and sealed suit systems. Goku. Vader's voice came through the comlink, transmitted on open frequencies. The Emperor offers one final opportunity. Join us, and Naboo is spared. Continue your resistance and witness the consequences of heroic futility. Goku destroyed the 11th satellite, then turned his full attention to Vader. I'm done negotiating with tyrants. Tell the Emperor that if he wants me, he can come get me himself instead of hiding behind you. As you wish. The consular cruiser's forward ramp descended, and Emperor Palpatine emerged, walking into the void as if it were a palace corridor. The dark side surrounded him like an atmosphere, creating a bubble of twisted reality where he could survive without protection. Magnificent determination. Palpatine's voice echoed across comm frequencies and through space itself. Carried on dark side energy. Exactly as I predicted. The noble warrior who cannot abandon innocence, even when doing so would be tactically sound. He raised his arms, and force lightning erupted. Not the restrained displays from their previous encounters, but torrents of dark side energy channeled through decades of Sith mastery. The lightning struck Goku's aura, and for the first time, began to penetrate. Not physically, his ki barrier still held, but the dark side energy was seeping through on a metaphysical level, attacking his will, his resolve, his sense of self. "Your power protects your flesh," Palpatine said, intensifying the assault. "But the dark side attacks more than flesh. It corrupts, weakens, shows you the futility of your struggle. Can you feel it? The weight of all those you failed to save? Every being suffering while you fight here. Every world falling to the Empire while you exhaust yourself." Goku gritted his teeth, fighting against the insidious whispers. The Emperor was right. Thousands were probably dying across the galaxy right now, and he was stuck here fighting instead of helping them. He wasn't strong enough, wasn't fast enough, would never be enough. No. The dark thoughts shattered as Goku's aura exploded outward, golden energy blazing brighter than before. He'd faced mental attacks before, Babbidi's mind control, Zamasu's nihilistic philosophy. He knew the taste of corruption trying to take root. "I know I can't save everyone," Goku shouted, and his voice carried absolute conviction. "I'm not a god. I'm just a warrior trying his best, but that doesn't make the fight pointless. Every person I do save matters. Every world that gains freedom because I fought for it matters. You want me to give up because perfection is impossible. That's the real futility." He launched himself at Palpatine with speed that broke the sound barrier despite being in vacuum. His fist, surrounded by concentrated ki, struck the Emperor's dark side barrier and shattered it. Palpatine's eyes widened fractionally as Goku's punch connected with his withered face, sending the ancient Sith Lord spinning through space. It was the first time in decades anyone had physically struck the Emperor, the first time his defenses had been breached by sheer, overwhelming power. Vader moved instantly, lightsaber flashing as he attempted to intercept Goku's follow-up attack. But Goku had grown faster, stronger from all the battles and training. He caught Vader's blade hand, turned the Dark Lord's momentum against him, and threw him toward the nearest Star Destroyer with carefully calibrated force. Enough to disable temporarily, not enough to kill. "I'm ending this now," Goku declared, and his transformation intensified further. The golden aura deepened, muscles expanding, power multiplying. "This is Super Saiyan Grade 2. I've been saving it for when I really needed to make a point." He appeared beside the final satellite, destroyed it with a casual flick of energy, then turned his full attention to the Imperial fleet. But instead of attacking the ships themselves, he targeted their weapon systems: turbo laser emplacements, missile tubes, tractor beam projectors. One by one, with impossible precision, he systematically disarmed the entire First Fleet. Palpatine recovered, his dark side presence swelling with fury. "You dare strike the Emperor? You, an anomaly, an aberration in the Force's natural order." Lightning erupted again, but this time Goku didn't just resist. He absorbed it, channeling the energy through his ki pathways and redirecting it harmlessly into space. "I learned that from Android 19, Goku explained, almost conversational despite the apocalyptic battle. "Energy absorption. Your lightning is just another form of power, and I've fought beings who could destroy universes. Your dark side tricks don't scare me anymore." The Emperor's expression twisted into pure rage, the mask of civilized control finally shattering. "Then you will witness true power, the dark side unleashed without restraint. I will tear this system apart, boil these oceans, shatter this world, and you will watch helplessly as your heroism achieves nothing." Dark side energy gathered around Palpatine on a scale Goku had never witnessed. The fabric of space warping as the ancient Sith prepared an attack that would consume everything nearby. The fleets, the planet, everything. Goku made his decision instantly. He used instant transmission, appearing directly behind Palpatine. It struck the back of the Emperor's neck with precise force, enough to knock unconscious, not enough to kill. The dark side energy dispersed explosively, but without direction, dissipating into space as its wielder slumped into unconsciousness. The entire Imperial fleet froze. Their Emperor, their absolute leader, floating unconscious in space, held by a golden-haired warrior whose power had just proven undeniable. Listen carefully. Goku transmitted across all frequencies, his voice reaching every Imperial vessel, every crew member. I've beaten your Emperor. I've disarmed your fleet. I could destroy everything here right now. But I'm not going to. You know why? Because you're not my enemies. You're just people following orders. People who deserve the chance to choose something different. He gathered Palpatine's unconscious form and began flying toward the consular cruiser. I'm putting the Emperor back on his ship, and then I'm leaving. What you do next, whether you continue this war or find a better path, it's up to you. But know this, the Empire can be beaten. And if you keep hurting innocent people, I'll keep stopping you every single time. He deposited Palpatine on the cruiser's deck, nodded once to the terrified crew, and launched himself back toward the rebel position where Wedge's squadron waited in stunned silence. Did you knock out the Emperor? Wedge's voice carried disbelief. And lecture the entire Imperial First Fleet about moral choices? Yeah, Goku replied, suddenly exhausted as the adrenaline faded. Probably should have killed him strategically. But I'm not an executioner. That's not who I am. The flight back to the rebel base was quiet, Goku's mind churning with the implications of what he'd done. He'd proven the Emperor could be beaten, that the Empire wasn't invincible. But he'd also shown mercy when execution would have been militarily sound. Had that been wisdom or weakness? When they arrived, the command center erupted in celebration. The story had already spread. Goku had defeated the Emperor himself, saved Naboo, disarmed the First Fleet without destroying it. It was a victory beyond anything the rebellion had achieved in years of warfare. But Goku felt no triumph, just weariness, and the knowledge that this was far from over. The Emperor would recover. The Empire would regroup. And the fundamental problem remained. He couldn't be everywhere, couldn't save everyone, no matter how strong he became. Leia found him on the observation deck hours later, staring at the stars with an expression she'd never seen on his face before. Not defeat, but something close. Acceptance of limitation. You did it, she said. You actually beat the Emperor. The entire galaxy is going to know that it's possible now. For about 5 minutes before he comes back angrier and more dangerous, Goku replied, I'm strong, Leia. Maybe the strongest individual in this galaxy. But the Emperor was right about one thing. Individual power isn't enough against something as vast as the Empire. I can win every battle and still lose the war. So, what do you do? Goku was quiet for a long moment and then smiled. A real smile, the first in weeks. I stopped trying to be everywhere. I stopped trying to save everyone personally. Instead, I inspire others to be strong enough to save themselves. He looked at her. The rebellion doesn't need me to be its shield. It needs me to be its symbol. Proof that the impossible is possible, that the Empire can be beaten, that hope is real. That's actually very wise, Leia admitted. Don't sound so surprised. Goku's characteristic humor returned. I've been thinking about this a lot. Back home, I trained others. Gohan, Goten, Oob. I made them strong enough to protect Earth when I couldn't. I need to do the same thing here. Find Force sensitives, train warriors, teach people to defend themselves. Build something that doesn't need me to function. He turned from the window, determination replacing weariness. The Emperor thinks individual power is meaningless against the Empire's scale. I'm going to prove him wrong. Not by being powerful enough to counter everything alone, but by inspiring thousands of others to be powerful enough to matter. That's how we win. Not through me being everywhere, but through everyone becoming strong enough that I don't have to be. Leia embraced him, grateful beyond words. You really aren't as dumb as Vegeta thinks, are you? Oh. Vegeta would definitely still call me an idiot for not killing the Emperor when I had the chance. Goku laughed. And he might be right. But I have to live with my choices. I have to be someone who fights for freedom without becoming a tyrant myself, even if it makes victory harder. Across the galaxy, aboard the consular cruiser, Emperor Palpatine regained consciousness with a scream of frustrated rage that sent dark side tremors through the Force. He had been defeated, physically struck down by a being who existed outside the Force's natural order. It was humiliating beyond measure. But as his ancient mind processed the encounter, a new emotion emerged: respect. This Goku had proven something the Emperor hadn't believed possible: that raw power, properly channeled and unshakably principled, could challenge even Sith mastery. The warrior had struck him down, but shown mercy, revealed strength and restraint simultaneously. Fascinating, Palpatine murmured, his rage cooling to calculated interest. You are more than a warrior. You are a catalyst, and catalysts can create reactions even their wielders do not anticipate. He would recover, rebuild, adapt. The Empire would strike back with renewed fury and lessons learned from this defeat. But for the first time in decades, Palpatine felt something he'd thought long dead: uncertainty about the outcome. This war was far from over, but it had fundamentally changed, transformed by a single warrior from another universe who believed the impossible could be achieved through determination, mercy, and inspiring others to greatness. The galaxy had changed in ways impossible to predict. Across thousands of worlds, the story spread of a golden warrior who'd stood against the Empire's might, who'd faced Darth Vader and lived, who'd struck down the Emperor himself and chosen mercy over execution. To some, he was a legend. To others, a symbol of resistance incarnate. To the Empire, he was an existential threat that defied all conventional understanding. But Goku himself had changed most of all. The naive warrior who'd arrived months ago, eager for strong opponents and simple moral clarity, had evolved into something more nuanced. He'd learned that power alone couldn't save everyone, that individual strength had limits, no matter how vast, that true victory required inspiration rather than domination. The rebellion began implementing his vision: training programs for Force sensitives discovered on liberated worlds, combat academies teaching resistance tactics, networks of cells inspired by his example to defend themselves rather than waiting for rescue. Goku rotated through these programs, teaching what he'd learned across lifetimes of martial arts, showing beings with modest abilities how determination and technique could overcome seemingly impossible odds. The Empire, for its part, had been forced into a strategic reassessment. Palpatine's defeat, temporary though it was, shattered the myth of Imperial invincibility. Defection rates skyrocketed, recruitment plummeted, Systems that had accepted occupation out of fear began questioning whether the Empire was truly unstoppable. And in training chambers across Rebel space, Goku pushed himself still further, developing new techniques, exploring the boundaries between his ki and this galaxy's force, preparing for the inevitable confrontations to come. Because the Emperor would return, Vader would seek rematch. The Death Star would eventually be deployed again. But next time, Goku wouldn't face them alone. He'd face them alongside a rebellion that had learned to be strong enough to matter, to fight not because they possessed overwhelming power, but because they believed in freedom's value regardless of cost. The war wasn't over. Perhaps it never would be. Tyranny and freedom locked in eternal struggle across the stars. But for the first time since the Empire's rise, hope burned bright enough to cast shadows. And in those shadows, revolution flourished. Goku stood on the observation deck of a new rebel base, watching hyperspace streams blur past, and smiled. The Emperor had been wrong. Individual power did matter, not because it could solve everything alone, but because it could inspire countless individuals to discover their own power, their own courage, their own determination to choose freedom over security. He'd come to this galaxy by accident, displaced from his universe by forces beyond his understanding. But perhaps this had been where he needed to be, where his strength could make the kind of difference that mattered most. Not as a weapon or a shield, but as a reminder that even the strongest empire could be challenged by beings who refused to surrender their principles. Vader would be hunting him. The Emperor would be plotting revenge. The Death Star loomed in his future like a dark promise. But Goku felt ready, not just physically, but spiritually, mentally prepared for whatever came next. Because he'd finally understood the truth that neither Jedi nor Sith seemed to grasp. Power wasn't about domination or sacrifice. It was about choice. The choice to protect rather than conquer, to inspire rather than command, to remain merciful even when cruelty would be easier. And that was a truth worth fighting for. Across galaxies, against impossible odds, for however long it took. The galaxy far, far away would never be the same. And neither would Son Goku. May the Force be with you. More stories await.